The 9/11 families have issued a statement asking Mamdani not to attend the 9/11 ceremony, which is just a few short weeks away. This is the 25th anniversary of the Islamic terror attack of September 11th. And the 9/11 families have asked Mamdani not to attend. And I'd also like to hear your thoughts on that. Yes or no, and call me on the air and let me know, yes or no, should Mamdani attend the 9/11 memorial event? Not just because, even if it wasn't the 25th anniversary, should he attend? And certainly with this one, I say no, he should not. It is inappropriate for Mamdani to attend. It is disrespectful to the 9/11 families, the 9/11 victims, to the United States as a country, and to the people of the United States. It really, truly is. And not just the people that were in the World Trade Center towers. Think about the people that were on the planes. Think about Beamer and the others. And we knew this day was coming as soon as he was elected mayor of New York. But now it's getting close, and it's got to be talked about. It's got to be said. And, the liberals, the Democrats, the mainstream media, they're not going to touch this. But I'm here to tell you that I will not be watching it. And I'm hoping that some others, like Mayor Giuliani, will refuse to attend if Mamdani is there. I'm thinking about those firefighters and police officers who died in the World Trade Center. I mean, think about this. The police officers and firefighters that died on 9/11, some of the bravest Americans who have ever lived, because they were running into the building that everybody else was running out of. Think about that. Think about that. That's right. Think about the people on the plane. The second plane and the plane that hit the Pentagon, the people on those planes, they knew what was coming because news had broken. And they knew they were hijacked. Think about those people at the Pentagon, on the planes. Think about Beamer on Flight 93 and the passengers who stood up against the hijackers and brought the plane down over that field in Pennsylvania to save the lives of strangers in a building somewhere. The plane was believed to be heading towards Washington. What the target in Washington was going to be, we don't know. Was it going to be the White House? Was it going to be the Capitol? Was it going to hit the Pentagon as well? We don't know. But Beamer and the brave passengers of Flight 93 saved God knows how many lives by bringing that plane down over that field in Pennsylvania. And Mamdani appearing, not just speaking, but appearing at the 25th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks at Ground Zero is sick. I mean, ask yourself this. Would it have been appropriate for a Japanese man to attend and give a speech in 1966 over the USS Arizona at Pearl Harbor? I don't think so. And no one would have allowed it to happen. Right? And no one would have allowed it to happen. There's just some things that are inappropriate. And this is one of them. So if you'd like to call in, the number's toll free. It's pinned in the live chat. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. When it comes to Mamdani at 9/11, think about how that's going to be viewed around the world. When Mamdani attends this event, which he plans on doing with his wife, how will that be viewed in the Islamic world. See, you know what a lot of people don't understand is Mamdani doesn't care about being a success in New York. He doesn't care, right? And if he fails economically in New York, that's not what he's there for. He's there for something else. And for the Iranians during this major combat operation, right? When the Iranians are watching Mamdani, the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard lunatics, when they're watching Mamdani speak at Ground Zero on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, that's who he's talking to. How will they perceive it? You know what they'll perceive it? They'll perceive that America lost the war on terror, that the United States has been conquered because there's an Islamic mayor giving a speech at Ground Zero. Not only that, it sends a message to the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, don't give up. Don't give up. The Americans are weak. Look at Mamdani, the Muslim mayor of New York. They elected him and he's speaking at Ground Zero. Remember, Iran helped train the 9/11 hijackers. But you see, Democrats have no sense of what's appropriate. And what's left of the Democrat Party, they're all about the total destruction of this country. So many people have forgotten what it was like on that day, and some of you may not be old enough to remember, or maybe you were born after 9/11. But those of you who were alive and experienced it, it was insane. It's still 25 years later, it's hard to believe it happened. It was so dramatic. Even though it's been 25 years, you remember where you were and who you were with, don't you? Absolutely. It's like it was yesterday. And it wasn't just a one-day event. The days, weeks, and months after just were insane. Remember going to the airport? I remember going to the airport here in Florida and seeing soldiers, armed soldiers with the largest combat weaponry I've ever seen, walking around the airport with it. And those weapons were fully loaded and ready to go and fully automatic. And and it wasn't scary that they were there at the airport. We were happy to have the Army there. We didn't have the TSA then. When Mayor Giuliani went to Ground Zero, America's mayor, when Mayor Giuliani went to Ground Zero and saw the people who were jumping out of the World Trade Center, they were above the impact site. They were in rooms filled with fire. They didn't want to jump out, but the human instinct got them to do it. Way up high in the World Trade Center towers, and you could hear, this was live on television. Mayor Giuliani was on. You could hear it sounded like bombs exploding, hitting the ground. And 25 years later, we're going to have a Muslim mayor take the lead and give a speech at Ground Zero? All right, I'll take some calls. I'd like to hear your calls on all of this. The number, again, is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening, 888-465-2631. I just got a text. Mike, the board op is late, so we're not going to be on the radio till, I don't know, around 6:30. So this is still the pre-show. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Richie.
Oh, hey, hey, Richie.
I have to say this to you. 25 years ago, when the World Trade Center was hit, this was a shock to not just our country, a shock to the world. But it was the beginning of a war with Islam to try to take out the biggest city in the United States by taking out our financial structure right there. I mean, it was the symbolism, okay? That was like the Normandy attacking the island for them to attack New York. They've completed their mission. Unfortunately, because of moronic Democrat liberal women and crazy people in New York City, they put a jihadist in charge of the city. So I believe that the 9/11 attack was the phase one, and the completion and the conquer of New York was phase two. And we have a jihadist mayor who hates Jews, hates Christians, hates everybody. Just look who he puts in.
Well,
in
and
power.
look, you know,
And
his staff, Mayor Mamdani's staff, it was stopped by Marco Rubio, but they were attempting to have a private meeting with the UN representative from Iran during this war that's going on right now, and that was just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, this is the most outrageous thing that America could have done. How weak and stupid can we be? That shows you the infiltration of care into our. I remember when they wanted to put a mosque a block and a half away from the World Trade Center, and the people of New York said, we're not going to tolerate this. Now they put a mayor in there. How sick is that? 25 years later, how sick is it? Does that show that we're compassionate, that we're smart? No, it shows that we're dumb people, and we let these people take control of us.
Yeah.
You mentioned Jimmy Carter in the beginning of your talk. Jimmy Carter and Barack Hussein Obama.
Bill Clinton.
Times were different then. You want to know what happened? It's a different time now. You know why it's a different time? Because the Democratic communists made a conscientious decision to open our border to jihadists all over the world, to the Muslim countries.
The Democrat Socialist of America, it's two things. It's a communist organization, but mainly it's an Islamic organization to do to the United States what they did to England. And you know, this thing with Mamdani at ground zero, you know, we knew the day was coming, but it's getting closer every day. It's the big elephant in the room. And the way it will be viewed in the Islamic world is that the United States lost the war on terror. And how else are they supposed to view it when you see something like this? And, you know, if Mamdani was a halfway decent person, he wouldn't go. But he's not.
Yeah, but let me.
And remember, his wife, on International Women's Day, Mamdani's wife was praising a female Muslim hijacker online on International Women's Day, on X, on Twitter.
Well, he was hanging around. Mamdani himself was hanging around one of the architects of the World Trade Center bombing.
That's right.
And it's so outrageous. I got to ask you a question: is 9/11 coming before the UN comes with the Prime Minister of Israel coming?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure the date that Netanyahu's coming.
Because the jihadist mayor has basically called for insurrection against and so there's going to be a faction of pro-Jews going to be there, going to be 100%, and pro-Jewish people going to be protesting for him to come in, and then you're going to have the other side with Mamdani's call for people to go out there and, you know, this guy's inciting violence, and it's so disgusting. This guy has to go. I don't know what we're going to do with this. I mean, we got to get to.
Well, I'm going to tell you that if Mamdani is there, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch any of it. Not that
but
that
then we
you know.
lose the respect. No, I can't imagine what that's going to create there. It's going to create such a bad feeling. He has no business within 5 miles of that place.
Yeah, someone told me in the live chat that Netanyahu's coming next week. So he's going to have a month of excitement, right? He'll get a week or two out of Netanyahu, and then when that calms down, the 9/11 thing will start. You know, but I got to tell you guys this, okay? I'll just tell you this. You know, there are some things that are just inappropriate for people to do. And it's inappropriate. It's just inappropriate. And of course they're going to call us bigots and racist for talking about it.
I don't care.
But
That's what they wanted
that's
to.
just a way not to deal with it. You know, if there had been a Japanese man in 1966, 25 years after Pearl Harbor, speaking at an event over the USS Arizona, it never would have been allowed because that would be
No,
inappropriate too.
Well, this wouldn't be allowed if it wasn't for Democrat.
Well, I'm curious to find out, you know, because no one wants to talk about this elephant in the room. At some point, the president's going to be asked about it. Mayor Giuliani's going to be asked about it, and I don't know how they're going to deal with it. But I would like them not to go if Mamdani's going to be there. To be on stage with a Muslim mayor on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, it's just wrong.
Yeah, but the thing is that he's going to take over the show and he's going to put out his baloney, because with one hand he says, I condemn all violence against Jews, for example, and then with the other hand.
All right, well, Richie, I'm gonna move on, but you know, by the way, the radio show has not started yet. This is Mike the board op is running late. We're not we're not going to be live on the radio till about 6:30. All right, take care, Richie. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Okay, sounds like they're on a CB. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is George from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, George.
For your information, you're not coming through on 95.3.
Yes, I know. What's playing? Music?
Yeah, music, yeah.
Yeah, the board op's running late, so there's nobody at the radio station. So I'm just on YouTube right now. We'll be live on the radio close to 6:30.
Okay, great.
I appreciate it, George. All right, I appreciate it. Oh, man, I know it sucks. If you're on hold, hang in there. I do have a lot to cover today, but I do want to hear you share your thoughts on this, all right? Do you believe, yes or no, and why you think that way? Should Mamdani attend the 9/11 25th anniversary event at Ground Zero? Yes or no, and why do you feel that way? And those of you that think it's okay, I would very much like to hear your answer. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Nope, hold on a second, guys. Hold on one second. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Jean from Minnesota. How you doing?
All right. Hold on, Minnesota. Yeah, okay. This sounds like a winner. Yeah, go ahead, Jean.
Yeah, I think it's great that you have a live prompt this morning.
A live what? A live what?
Prompt.
Prom?
Prompt.
Spell it. I can't understand the word you're saying.
PROMPT.
Prompt. A live prompt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I'm doing. A live.
Language, brother.
Yeah, well, when you speak your own language, people don't understand what you're saying, except you.
Okay, well, what's on your mind today? I understand Mamdani in New York. I understand that. What do you want to know? I'll tell you.
Well, the question I'm asking, is it appropriate for Mamdani to speak at Ground Zero on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, which is just a few short weeks away?
I don't, in my mind, think why would it be appropriate for him to do that? To me, it's un-American, it's unpatriotic.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate the call, all right? You don't call me again sometime, okay? All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Irene. I'm calling from Plantation.
Hey, Eileen.
Except I can't get you on the air.
Yeah, I know. Hold on one second. I'll answer your question. Okay. No, the board op at the radio station is running late, and there's no one at the radio station to switch us on. So we'll be live around 6:30 on the radio. So I'm streaming on YouTube right now.
Okay.
All right, appreciate it, Eileen. Yeah, I know. Well, you know, it's not when these things happen. I do not mind people calling in and telling me. It's nice. It's nice that people care enough that they can't hear us on the air. If they could, when people aren't concerned and aren't calling you about it, that's when you got to worry, right? I have friends that work at other radio stations, and they're like, "Why do you let those callers on the air?" And I'm like, "Well, when you're off the air, do people call you?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Well, there you go. Either you have no listeners, or the listeners you have don't care." All right. So, hold on a second. I just got a text from Mike. Well, let's see. Hold on a second. I'm talking to Mike in text, trying to coordinate. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll go back to the phones in a moment. There was a funeral that Steve and I were invited to a couple years back, and it was somebody that's a somewhat well-known person. And when well-known people die, everybody likes to go to the funeral. But I didn't get along with the person. Okay? Hold on. I'm texting with Mike. Okay. I didn't get along with the person, and the person was just they were just a terrible person. And Steve didn't like him either, and they were inappropriate and nasty to Steve too. And I said, "Steve, I am not going to their funeral." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "They didn't like me, they didn't like you, they were not nice to you, they were not nice to me, and we didn't like them. So to go would be, I didn't care about disrespecting them because they were a major, major terrible person." And this has happened a couple times actually with people I've had to deal with that are in like celebrity broadcasting circles, like other broadcasters. It's happened more than once. This has happened 2 big times, and I said it would be disrespectful to their families to go. I don't care about disrespecting them because these were 2 people that were broadcasters, one more well known than the other, who did terrible things to Steve, to me, off the air, which I'm not going to go through because I don't want to tip off who they were. But I said it would be disrespectful to their families for us to go. I'm not going. You can go without me, but I'm not going to do it because it would be disrespectful to their families, who I didn't even know, right? Well, I'm of the opinion that that's what a decent human being does. That's what a gentleman does. Don't you guys agree with that? Would you go to a funeral of someone that hated you and that you had issues with and you had nothing but negative conflicts with and you really hated the person? Of course, I don't think most people would. Because it would be disrespectful to their families to do so. So, Mom Donnie is in a similar situation. Yeah, he's the mayor, and technically he has the right to do it. But just because you have the right to do something doesn't mean you should do it. There's a lot of things that you have the right to do. It doesn't mean you should do it. I'm not going to go through a list of things that we all have the right to do that you shouldn't do. You know what I'm talking about. Different things. So, why do something that's so offensive? I'll give you an example. Flag burning, the burning of the American flag, which I do not support at all. Right? And liberals say, well, it's free speech. Well, there's lots of things that are free speech. But when something is so outrageous and hurtful to people, why do it? I saw a guy online that I watched, and he did something that was so over the line to me. I contacted him about it. He defaced an image of the Last Supper, right? And I said, why'd you do that? And he says, oh, it's art. No, it's not art. You know, you're just being outrageous to be outrageous. You're trying to hurt and offend people. Same thing goes with flag burning. Flag burning is so upsetting to people for good reason, by the way. I wouldn't do it, and I don't support it. So why do liberals like to burn the American flag? Because they hate the flag, they hate the country, and they want to piss off people. So why would Mamdani go to Ground Zero and speak on the 25th anniversary of 9/11? You know why? He's not speaking to the New Yorkers. He's not speaking to the 9/11 families, and he's not speaking to the American people. He's speaking to the Muslim world. And you know, President Trump has a Mideast policy which is nearly complete to finally bring peace to the Middle East, right? A plan to finally bring peace to the Middle East. And what Mamdani is doing, if Mamdani goes, it could prolong the war with Iran, because if the IRGC is still holding on when that happens, he will give them hope to stand up to Trump in the United States. Because Mamdani at Ground Zero speaking there will be heard live in the Muslim world, on every cell phone, on every television, on every computer screen. And they've been pretty battered and brutalized in Iran, rightly so, for all the terrorism that they've backed and all the people that are dead and maimed because of them. But Mamdani is going to give them hope to hang in there. And it helps their war effort. And in a way, that makes him a collaborator with the enemy, doesn't it? You know, when these kind of things happen, you have to stand up and talk about them. But because it's politically incorrect to do so, the media are going to do the exact opposite. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. I want to take a quick break. We'll be live on the radio in a few minutes. But those of you out there that are Medicare recipients, I want you to call Chapter. I'm going to give you the number to call Chapter. Chapter, by the way, can help you with your Medicare no matter where you are in the United States. And at no charge, they're going to review your policy to make sure you're not paying too much. And it's free. There's over 25,000 Medicare policies out there. And because Chapter is nationwide, they have access to all of them. They'll review your policy and make sure you have the right policy and that you're not paying too much for it. And again, at no cost to you. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Give Chapter a call. They'll review your policy. All you have to lose is nothing because it's free. They'll review it for free. And by the way, if the policy that you have is the right policy, they'll tell you. All right? All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes.
The mask lady.
Hey, Mask Lady.
Brian, where are you? I can't find you.
Yeah, the board op is late to the radio station. There's no one at the radio station to turn us on. So I'm not, I'm at my remote studio today. So we'll be live.
Okay, I was
We'll be live
worried.
in we'll be live in 5 or 10 minutes on the radio.
All right, I thought something happened to you. I was worried.
No, nothing happened to me. No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm alive and well.
All right.
All right, take care. Yeah, I know. People are out there by the radios wondering what is going on. The Mask Lady who hates me, she doesn't hear me on the radio for a few minutes and she's freaking out and missing me, right? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but give Chapter a call. And again, it costs you nothing. They have access to all the 25,000 plus Medicare policies. And they'll review your policy and make sure that you have the right policy and that you're not paying too much. 805-754-3033. 3033. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
Our world is filled with confusion, deception, and uncertainty. Where can you turn for the truth? Bible Prophecy and Truth is a Christ-centered ministry dedicated to proclaiming the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ and shining the light of God's Word into a world darkened by deception. Discover powerful videos that explain what the Bible says about salvation and what you must do to be saved. Explore fascinating teachings on Bible prophecy, the rapture. There's also an in-depth creation versus evolution study that will strengthen your faith and deepen your understanding of Scripture. And that's just the beginning. Whether you're a lifelong believer, a new Christian, or simply searching for answers, Bible Prophecy and Truth offers biblical teaching rooted in God's truth. Visit videos.prophecyandtruth.com. That's videos.prophecyandtruth.com and discover the truth, strengthen your faith, and grow closer to Jesus Christ. Videos.prophecyandtruth.com. Are you looking for a smarter way to care for your skin and your hair? You could do just that with Velaya AI. Velaya AI is your personal AI wellness coach. With just a quick scan from your phone, Velaya AI analyzes your skin and hair in seconds, providing personalized recommendations for acne, hydration, wrinkles, pigmentation, dryness, hair health, and that's just the beginning. Using advanced artificial intelligence, Velaya AI creates customized morning and evening routines, recommends products tailored to your needs, and even adjusts your care based on the weather, UV index, and seasonal conditions. What are you waiting for? Download Velaya AI right now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store and discover a smarter, more personalized approach to skin and hair care. Learn more and see how Velaya works online at mindhatch.ca. That's mindhatch.ca. Velaya AI, healthy skin and hair powered by artificial intelligence.
All right, and we are back. And oil prices have dropped 9% a barrel, which is, can we round that up to 10%? And I filled up my car yesterday, Sunday afternoon. I went and filled up my car, and I paid $3.74 a gallon, right? That's not bad, right? $3.74 a gallon. I don't think that's bad. I mean, I'd much rather it be, $1.50 a gallon. We always want to pay less for what we're paying, but when you consider what's going on, it's not that bad, is it? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I don't know. I'm getting some weird messages here that I don't quite understand. I don't know. Sometimes things happen. Somebody from Fox News Channel is upset with me, and I'm not really sure of the context of everything they're upset about with me. And I'm getting someone from Fox News posted a screenshot of something I said on their X. And I don't really know the context of it and why they're so upset with me and calling me out with screenshots. But, this has happened. This has happened with CNN personalities, MSNBC personalities. So now it's happened with someone from Fox. And they're very upset with me when someone takes a screenshot. This is why I often say, don't put things in writing. I keep my text messages pretty short. And 1 or 2 word answers. And somebody, what did they share? What did they do a screenshot of? I think I sent them a DM 8 years ago. I sent them a DM. Oh, let me see if I can. I'm trying to get some context as to what's going on here. Yes. Yeah. I sent them a DM inviting them to come on the show as a guest. And they shared a screenshot of it, like I did something wrong, and the DM was from years ago. It's so bizarre. I just don't. I find when people share screenshots, it's to me it's of communication. It's really a violation, isn't it? I mean, it's a real, like if you have a private conversation with someone and it's a text message or a DM, and they take a screenshot and not that I said or did anything inappropriate. When I get some context, I'll give you more specifics of what's going on here, because I don't really understand what's going on here. We're going to be live on the radio in 5 minutes, so hang in there. But I find it to be an aggressive move when people share screenshots of communications. Don't you? And I often say, don't put anything in writing, especially these days. And I kind of have like there was one guy who was a liberal. Oh, he still is a liberal listener that we invited in as a guest on the show to come in studio. So I had texted him, about coming into the studio, basic stuff, right? The directions, the address, and whatever else what we were going to talk about. And years later, they were still showing that text to people. Years later, because I would hear from people, they would show that text to people like I was in communication with them because I had this exchange giving them directions to the radio station. It's so bizarre. And when it comes to text messages or DMs, I just don't do that. I really don't do that, and that's why most of the communication I have, like some of you may send me a DM or something and I'll write back, or maybe I'll respond to a comment on YouTube that you've made about me or something. But it's always short, 1-2 words, 3 if you're lucky. And the reason I do that is once you have something, no matter how mild it is in writing, no matter how boring or routine it is, people take that as things. It's just so bizarre what people do. So this Fox News, I'm not going to talk about who they are or what's going on yet, because I don't have context to it. It's just very strange. I've had this before. Joy Reid did this to me. She took when she was on MSNBC, I commented on a post she made on X, and she took a screenshot of my profile and posted it and went after me, and then I was getting bombarded. Fredo Cuomo, when he was on CNN, twice had meltdowns at me. Yes, somebody said yes. Somebody in the chat said who it is. Yes, and it's somebody from Fox News that you would not think would ever be upset at anybody, right? It's very strange. I don't know what is triggered people, but and it's just people in this day and age of the internet. People just get very bully-like. There was I commented on, this was years ago, I commented on someone's tweet from Fox News that was on Outnumbered and The Five, and they were so upset, they called me out on Outnumbered, like live on the air. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was like they were so triggered, and I don't know. It's just the world that we're living today. All right, we are less than a minute away from the radio show starting, so I've got to open up the radio show and kind of start things over for the radio audience, okay, guys? I'm a little thrown off because we're basically coming on almost 40 minutes late on the radio, so it throws people off on the radio. I don't know what they are mad about the people in the live chat, in the main live chat, yes, the name that is in the chat is the person I'm talking about. Less than 20 seconds. And I think their level of anger towards me is a little out of proportion. Don't you? Yes. All right, stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and you are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We are coming on a little late today. My apologies, guys. We've got a lot to cover on today's show, all right? And cover it we will. I've got two topics I want to start with. And then as the show goes on, there's been a lot of events over the weekend that I want to cover. But I'm going to start in reverse of what I was going to do because we're coming on late, and I was in the middle of, since we weren't on the air on the radio, I was doing the show on YouTube, and I was having this discussion on YouTube. And one is about ICE, and another one is about something else. And I'm going to start with the something else, and then after the break, I'll get into the ICE story, okay, on the border. It's almost the end of July, right? So we are 4, 5, what are we, like 6, 7 weeks away from the 20th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks. And over the weekend, the 9/11 families released a statement asking Mamdani not to attend. And the discussion we were having online, and I want to continue this on the show this morning. Do you believe Mamdani should attend the 25th anniversary of 9/11 at Ground Zero on September 11th? I say no. It is inappropriate. It is offensive. It is disrespectful. And also, I'll explain what I mean about all these things. Number one, this war with Iran is on the ropes. You know, they're making a big deal that President Trump has paused the bombing. What did we have? Did we have 12 or 13 nights of massive bombings in Iran? He's paused it for a couple of days. And Drudge Report has a story today that we're out of ammunition. Are you kidding? We're the United States of America. We're not out of ammo. President Trump is up to something. Maybe we've just blown up so much, they're just reassessing future targets. Maybe they blew up all their targets that they had planned out for this operation, and they've got to reassess what's going on in Iran. There's probably very little left to bomb right now. But Iran is on the ropes. They're completely surrounded. Iran has brought Ukraine into this over the weekend. Saudi Arabia is involved. We've got the Turks, we've got the Iraqis, we've got the Israelis. They're completely surrounded, Iran. They're in a multi-front war. President Trump has them on the ropes. They're on the verge of complete collapse. And full peace in the Middle East is almost with us forever because the rest of the Middle East are on our side, except for Iran. And they're on the verge of collapse. So, how do you think the Iranian Revolutionary Guard would interpret seeing Mamdani speaking at Ground Zero on the 25th anniversary of 9/11? Because you know, in the Muslim world, and the more radical the person is, the more they're going to read into it. But you know, when Mamdani is speaking at Ground Zero on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, that it is going to be carried live in the Muslim world, and they're all going to be watching it on television, on their computers, on their phones, on their tablets, on their iPads. And what this will do, if the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is still hanging on in Iran, it's going to give them hope to keep fighting. Because they're going to see the Muslim mayor of New York giving a speech at Ground Zero on the 25th anniversary of the September 11th Islamic terror attacks. And they're going to view that as the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. They will view that as America having lost the war on terror. And it will give them what they need to hang in there. Not only that, it'll give them what they need to rally whatever troops they have left to continue the fight. Don't give up. Look at this. Mamdani's at Ground Zero. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. That alone is reason enough for him to not speak at Ground Zero on 9/11. But the gauge I always use is going back in time to September 12th, 2001. If you went back in time to September 12th, 2001 and looked into the future, into a crystal ball, and saw a Muslim mayor of New York City in 2026 giving the speech at Ground Zero, you would not have believed it. You would say, New York would never do this. After what they did to these buildings, New York would, and here we are. You know, I think about the people that were trapped above the impact site. They couldn't get out. That were in rooms filled with fire, and their human instinct got them to jump out of the buildings to their death. I think about Beamer and the others on Flight 93 that knew what had happened. Their plane had been hijacked, and they made a decision to force the plane to crash in the middle of nowhere to save the lives of strangers in buildings somewhere that the plane was going to hit. I think of the firefighters and police officers in New York City that ran into the buildings that everybody else was running out of, and they never got out. So our schedule is obviously messed up this morning, so this is a short segment. We'll take this break on time, and then moving forward for the rest of the show, we'll be on schedule, okay? It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on hold, stand by. I've got a lot more to cover, but I will take calls after the break. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this. Okay, if you're on hold, stand by, okay? I'm going to take calls after the break. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, and it's pinned in the live chat.
Life can leave us with a lot of questions. Why did this happen to me? Why do I keep repeating the same patterns? And where is God in all of it? If you've ever asked those questions, you need to tune into the Healing Philosophers Podcast with the Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Through honest conversations and real-life experiences, each episode explores topics like healing from past hurts, generational karma, letting go of what's holding you back, understanding narcissism, and discovering how God can use even life's hardest moments for a greater purpose. The Healing Philosophers Podcast is about finding hope, growing in your faith, and realizing that your story and every season of your life has meaning. Add the Healing Philosophers Podcast to your Spotify playlist, and make sure to share the podcast on all your social media, and invite your friends and family to listen in too. Your share could be exactly what someone else needs right now. The Healing Philosophers Podcast with the Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Healing starts with one conversation. Listen now on Spotify. Are you retired and wondering what comes next? Your experience still has value. Your passions, hobbies, knowledge, and skills could become the foundation of a profitable online business. At retirementprogram.org, you'll discover a practical internet marketing strategy designed to help everyday people just like you create additional income from what they already know. With retirementprogram.org, you'll learn how to build your very first website, even with no programming experience. Discover the basics of getting your website found on Google. Learn to attract targeted visitors and turn that traffic into revenue. This free step-by-step guide explains how to choose a topic, create useful content, improve your search rankings, and explore proven ways to make money online. Retirementprogram.org isn't about getting rich overnight. It's about investing a little time each week to build something that can grow over time and provide an additional source of income during your retirement. Your dream career may not be behind you. It could be just beginning. Visit retirementprogram.org today and get your free guide and share the link on all your social media so your retired friends can join in too. That's retirementprogram.org.
All right, and we're still in radio break, and because we're a little messed up on our schedule, we've got a couple minutes till we're back, so we can be on time for the rest of the show. Because we missed a break at the quarter after point, you know, because there's a break on the radio every 15 minutes, so we missed the first break, so we're catching up, right, by adding those commercials into other breaks. So we got about 2 minutes, and we'll be back, and there's a lot of people on hold, so stand by. I'm going to take the calls when we get back on the radio. But I would really like to keep the discussion on what is your opinion of Mamdani attending and speaking at the 25th anniversary of September 11th at Ground Zero. And regardless of all opinions are welcome, by the way. And whether it's yes or no, and why do you feel that way? All right, I think it's pretty important. The number's toll free. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. And if you could all do me the favor of liking the video, if you don't mind, I'd appreciate that, you guys. When you like the video, it really helps spread the word about the channel. When you like the video, it gets the video recommended to people that are not familiar with me, that have not ever watched one of my videos, and it gets recommended to people that would like this kind of content. So when you like the video, it helps more than I can describe, really. And those of you that do that, thank you in advance. And I know a lot of you do that every time. Thank you so much, and please continue to do that. When you like the video, you're basically you're my marketing team. You're all I got to market the program. Okay, less than a minute, and we'll be back. And as I said, I will go to the phones when we get back. You know, liberals don't have a sense of common decency, and there are just some things that are not right to do. Burning the American flag, Mamdani going to the 9/11 funeral. There's just things that are just not less than 30 seconds, 20 seconds, and we'll be back. Oh boy, I cannot believe it is Monday. The weekend flew by, did it not? All right, 10 seconds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Doc from Texas.
Hey, Doc.
Hey, man. How you this morning?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm excellent. It's sort of another glorious week.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, quick question. You said that Trump has won the war in Iran. How do you figure that?
They're on their knees. They are on the verge of total collapse as a country.
Brian.
They do not have the ability to launch terror attacks around the world.
They don't have to. They are. Okay? You're on your radio, so I'm not gonna say a word. They are kicking out our you know what.
Well, I think what you're sharing is wishful thinking. You want them to win.
I don't want them to win, Brian.
Who do you want to win? Who do you want to win the war? Who do you want to win the war? The United States or Iran?
You know what I wish that both of them.
No. Who do you want to win? The United States or Iran?
I want us to win.
Who's
I want
us?
to go there.
When you say us, what does that mean for you?
Me and you. I want us to win.
No. Do you want the United States to win or Iran?
Dumb. We part of the United States.
But can't you just say it? You can't even say it.
I just said it.
No, you're saying it. You're saying it in weird ways. The United States or Iran? Can't you say that you want the United States to win and defeat Iran? Can't you just say those words?
Brian, I want us to come out of there, bring our people home.
Why can't you say it that way? Why can you not say?
I just said, Brian, you don't
Say
understand.
it. Say it again.
Fine.
What'd you say? Let me hear it. Let me hear it.
I just said it, and I'm not saying it again.
What did you say?
I'm not going to, if you'd have shut up for a second, you'd have heard what I said.
I missed it. Say it.
I won't say it again. I won't say it again.
You won't say what
You know
again?
what I said. I won't say it again.
Here.
Okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal. We getting our butts handed to us over there.
No, we're
We
not.
losing people.
No.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not getting our
Yes,
butts
we are.
kicked.
You just want to admit because you drunk that Kool-Aid.
You know,
so
we
much
lost.
to where-
We lost more people coming out of one boat on the beaches of Normandy than we've lost in this entire conflict.
Again, I don't care, Brian.
I know you don't care.
People.
You can't even say
I
that.
do.
You can't even say, "I want the United States to
said it.
win against Iran." You can't
I
even
just
say,
said it. I just said it.
I
I
want
just
Iran
said
to be defeated." I didn't hear you say
I
it.
just said it.
Well, then say it again.
Ask your listeners that heard me say it. Ask your listeners.
Say it again then.
Ask your listeners.
Say it again
I
then.
won't say it 'cause I just
Why
said it.
not?
I just said it.
Is
I
it
won't say
painful?
again.
Is it
I'm
painful
gonna
to say?
change- No, it won't, because I just said it. And I'm gonna say it.
I didn't hear you say it.
Again, I said it, and we're not gonna go do this. We're not gonna go
So
do this.
is it appropriate for Mamdani to speak at Ground Zero on 9/11?
Yes.
A
Why
Muslim?
can't he? What's wrong with Muslims?
What?
What's wrong with Muslims?
It is an event that it was
What's wrong with Muslims?
I'm not answering that ridiculous question. 9/11.
So-
9/11 was an Islamic terror attack on the United States, correct?
So should we blame every Muslim for that?
I didn't say anything like that. No. You're not answering.
Yes, you
I'm not here to
did.
answer.
You
I'm not
did.
here to answer
You
your
just
questions.
did. You
No.
just did because you know I'm
Is
right,
it
because you know I'm
appropriate?
right.
Is it?
I'll tell you
Is
what,
it?
no, okay.
Tell me
I'll
why.
tell you
How,
what.
tell me how the
I'll tell you
9/11
what. I'll tell you
family.
what.
Excuse me. The 9/11 families have asked Mamdani not to attend. It is offensive to have a Muslim
Well,
who's.
Trump shouldn't go there then. Trump shouldn't go then.
They didn't ask
But
Trump not to
he-
go.
He just made a deal with what you call it.
The what you call it?
You know,
You know, Mamdani's wife on International Women's Day praised a female Islamic hijacker of an airplane.
how long ago that was?
They're kids. They're young, just a couple years ago. Doesn't matter.
How long ago that was?
A couple
How long
years
ago
ago.
that was, Brian? You didn't say some stupid stuff back in your days. And you can't tell me
I've
that.
never praised terrorists.
Yeah, I don't know what you said, Brian.
Well, I know.
You back then.
I know. I've never praised. We know she did. I've never praised terrorists.
I don't trust you.
I'm not lying. All right, take care. You don't trust me, then why talk to me? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Carl from Brunswick, Georgia.
Hey, Carl in Georgia.
I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you about Mamdani speaking at the 9/11 25th anniversary. I think something that you're forgetting is some of the people killed that day were Muslim. In fact,
The hijackers. The hijackers.
Actually, I was going to say a young Pakistani American, Muhammad Salam Hamdani, was a
Oh, my
23-year-old EMT who rushed
Yeah.
in to help at the World Trade Center and was killed.
Uh-huh.
You know, the people who did this were not representing Islam. They were
Really?
evil people. Yeah.
It wasn't,
They
it
were-
was part of
they
the,
were Muslims
no,
who
excuse
were
me,
killed.
9/11 was part of the global intifada, which Mamdani will not condemn.
There were Muslim Americans who rushed in to help.
You
And
named
he did
one
condemn
guy that I've
9/11.
never heard of.
Mamdani.
And if you went to the 9/11 hijackers who were all Muslim that died on that day, they would call that collateral damage.
Respectfully, Brian, this man, a Muslim American, died trying to help people that day.
Oh,
There
please.
were Muslims on the flights who were killed.
Please.
For
Yeah, the
innocence.
hijackers.
There were Muslims, there were police and firefighters who rushed in to help.
See, this is
was not
what
all
the
Muslims,
see what
Brian.
these I didn't say it was all Muslims. I never said it was all Muslims. You know, but see what's before you go on. I'm talking to the audience.
Mamdani
See, excuse
is
me,
not a terrorist.
excuse me, I'm speaking. I didn't say he was. You know, this is what the Democrats do, right? They're rewriting history. Now all of a sudden, the victims of 9/11 were these Muslim people we've never heard of.
Well, sir, respectfully, I gave you a specific example. He's a real person.
That's
who
called
died
collateral
trying to help
damage.
people.
That's called collateral damage. The 9/11 families, the 9/11, excuse me, the 9/11, no, the 9/11 families have asked Mamdani not to attend. What do you say to them?
All of them? Well, I would say that
It's an organization of 9/11 families. They've released a statement asking him not to attend.
I would say probably some would say Trump shouldn't attend.
We're not talking about Trump. We're not talking about Trump. Would it, do you at all see, excuse me, where were you on 9/11?
I was in Alabama.
How old were you and what were you doing and who were you with?
I was in college with my friends.
Okay. So when you saw that, tell me how you would describe 9/11 to someone. Who attacked us on 9/11?
It was a horrible attack of terrorists who hated Americans.
Is it accurate to say it was an Islamic terror attack?
Sure. Just
Okay.
in the same way Eric Rudolph was a Christian terrorist. He doesn't represent all Christians.
No, he did not. Excuse me. No. That's cute, but that's not the same thing. And he certainly wasn't representative of Christianity, and you know this. However, the 9/11 hijackers, excuse me, the 9/11 hijackers who were trained in Iran, who were jihadis carrying out the second global intifada, the Islamic war against the world, okay? And that's what happened on 9/11. Would it have been appropriate, in your mind, to have a Japanese man on the 25th anniversary of Pearl Harbor speak over the Arizona Memorial?
If it was a Japanese American, for instance, a Japanese American who was put in an internment camp, I think that would have been appropriate.
That would be appropriate, yeah, because you're a liberal.
Absolutely.
Don't you? Do you see it? Excuse me. Do you see at all? Do you see at all how it would be offensive to Americans to have a Muslim man speaking at Ground Zero on the 25th anniversary? Do you see how that would offend people?
No, because again, a Muslim American died trying to help.
You've got one guy that nobody's ever heard of. You've got one guy that no one's ever heard of. And to try to make 9/11 about him.
Ever heard of. He's a famous example.
He's famous. Yeah, he's famous, and he's famous in Mecca and Medina. But he's not famous in America.
He's an American who happens to be Muslim who died trying to help.
It's called collateral damage. That's how they would view it.
I think his family thinks he's a hero. I think he's a hero. I'm confused why you don't think he's a hero. He's an American who died trying to save Americans.
Please. All right, listen, I'm up against the top of the hour break, but all opinions are welcome, even sick, twisted liberal ones. Oh, my goodness. All right. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. If you're on hold, stand by. My goodness, see, they're rewriting 9/11 now. We'll be right back. All right. See what they've done? See, they're rewriting. They do this where, this is what liberals do. They're rewriting history. We'll be right back.
What if the past you've been running from is the only thing that could save the people you love? Author Anna Alina Bolstad brings the Old West to life in a story of redemption, sacrifice, and family. The Death of Laura Black, available on Amazon. Laura Black was once an outlaw, living a dangerous life filled with crime and violence, but she's left that world behind. Now she wanders the wilderness alone, carrying the scars of her past and the secrets she's tried to bury. Everything changes when she discovers the only family she's ever known is in desperate need of help, and she's the only one who can save them. Can Laura face ghosts of her past, or will the life she's escaped finally catch up with her? Find out in this unforgettable Western adventure filled with action, heart, and strong characters. The Death of Laura Black, from author Anna Alina Bolstad. Available on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, and free with Kindle Unlimited. This book also makes a great addition to your book club. Order your copy right now. Our world is filled with confusion, deception, and uncertainty. Where can you turn for the truth? Bible prophecy and truth is a Christ-centered ministry dedicated to proclaiming the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ and shining the light of God's Word into a world darkened by deception. Discover powerful videos that explain what the Bible says about salvation and what you must do to be saved. Explore fascinating teachings on Bible prophecy, the rapture. There's also an in-depth creation versus evolution study that will strengthen your faith and deepen your understanding of Scripture. And that's just the beginning. Whether you're a lifelong believer, a new Christian, or simply searching for answers, Bible Prophecy and Truth offers biblical teaching rooted in God's truth. Visit videos.prophecyandtruth.com. That's videos.prophecyandtruth.com and discover the truth, strengthen your faith, and grow closer to Jesus Christ. Videos.prophecyandtruth.com.
All right, we got about 90 seconds until we'll be back from our radio break. If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to go back to the phones when we get back. By the way, Eric Rudolph was the Olympic Park bomber. Unbelievable. This rewriting of history to Islamify it. This is what they do. When well, I'm going to say this when we get back on the air before we take calls. Okay? Unreal. We'll be back shortly. Hold on. One minute, we'll be back. And if you're on hold, hang in there. If you want to call in, the number's toll free, and it's pinned in the live chat. 45 seconds, and we'll be back. Yep. I'm just going to open the hour, and then we'll go to the phones. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. All right, 30 seconds. All right, the 7 o'clock hour has begun. If you're on hold, stand by. The last caller with this Islamification of the 9/11 history, what conquering peoples do when they take over a nation is they rewrite the history of that nation and twist it into their own. And about a year or so ago, I shared a story on the air out of England. And it was a story about how the Queen, it had to be maybe 2 years ago, it was before the Queen died, right? And it was a story about how Queen Elizabeth was related, however many times removed, to the Prophet Muhammad. I was recently reading some history out of England. I read a lot of history and stuff. And my wife and I, we were reading up on some things about the plague. And it was an article about how the plague affected Muslims in Europe. I've never heard anybody, when they're talking about the plague in England and Europe, talk about Muslims. And so what they do is they're Islamifying history. And what that last caller was doing was Islamifying 9/11. And that may be the first time I've heard that done. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, good morning, Brian. This is Izzy from Virginia.
Hey, Virginia.
And I would like to share my observations about Mamdani and him being at the 9/11 ceremony.
Yes.
I think it would be highly inappropriate. I have a couple of little books. One's called Intifada on the Hudson. It's the selling of Zorhan Mamdani when he was running for office. And he is a Shia Muslim who would go along with the mullahs of Tehran in Iran. And the only thing I've heard him talk about, and they've been yelling death to America for 50 years and killing our own people. Now he wants to arrest Netanyahu, but I have not heard him utter one word about the 92 million Iranians who want to be free.
Or how many Iranians have been slaughtered by their own government?
52,000.
Well, that's just
Iranians
recently.
have been slaughtered.
That's just recently. Think about that. And here's the thing.
He hates us.
Let me just
And then he
hold on
cried,
before you move on. Before you
Islamophobia.
move on to your thing, this is a very important thing. Okay, what Iran is on the verge of collapse, right? The Iranian Revolutionary Guard they got very little left, right? What this does is energize them and sends a message that America is weak and that the jihadis won. The guy that was Islamifying the 9/11 history before the top of the hour break that called from, where did he call from? Georgia. It was telling me about all these Muslims that were heroic and died on 9/11. My goodness.
Oh, God.
I know, I couldn't believe.
I missed that one.
But he was talking about Eric Rudolph. Eric Rudolph, for those that don't know,
I'll catch up.
Eric Rudolph was the Olympic park bomber. He was not a Christian who was on a Christian crusade, okay? He was a nutbag terrorist. The 9/11 hijackers were jihadis they're fighting back from the crusades still, okay, to retake the Holy Land, from
Exactly.
and that's what's going on here. And the 19 hijackers were jihadis, part of the Islamic Second Global Intifada, which Mamdani has refused to condemn. And
Exactly.
I'm sorry. And to have a Muslim there on 9/11 is inappropriate, to put it mildly. It's just wrong.
And he will make it all about Islamophobia. Remember when he was running for mayor, he talked about his poor aunt who felt terrorized because she was a Muslim riding the bus and all that crap.
Well, and you've heard, if you listen to the callers,
even if it's factual,
if you listen
he
to
will call us Islamophobic.
If you listen to the liberal callers I've taken on this today, they all have the same talking points. Not all Muslims are terrorists, Brian. Well, I never said that.
No.
I mean,
True.
come on. They have these catchphrases that they use to try to discount you by calling you a bigot or an Islamophobe. There are things that are just wrong and inappropriate to do. And this is one of them. And if somebody was a Japanese American, they had no business 25 years after Pearl Harbor attending and giving a speech over the USS Arizona. I'm sorry. It's just wrong.
There is an antidote to all of this for all of us, and there is a new book just released this year called The Architecture of Jihad, written by a Christian Iranian who lives here in America. And she goes through chapter by chapter and tells us how to legally work against this jihad here in America.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know who that is or the book, so I don't want to endorse anything that I'm not familiar with. But hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I don't know who these people are, and I got nothing to do. I mean, maybe the book's good, maybe it's the worst. I don't know. So I don't like to do that. Here's the thing, okay? The American left, even people have forgotten about this, but I never forget. After 9/11, the Democrats were blaming us for the attacks right away, the second day, okay? And Bill Clinton was one of them, and there were many others. And the Democrats started asking the question, well, this was a question they were now they didn't ask it for long because the backlash was very, very big and huge and fast. But they top Democrats, Mario Cuomo, Bill Clinton, and others, what did we do that drove them to knock these buildings down? They were asking that like on September 12th, 13th, 14th. I remember that, And George W. Bush are all the terrible things that you believe him to be. He lied about WMDs and all of that, no doubt about it. But I'll tell you what, when he was with the firefighter with the bullhorn on top of the rubble at Ground Zero, that was one of the greatest moments in presidential history of this whole country, and it united this country and gave us the hope to stand up to it. And for Mamdani to stand where Bush stood with the firefighter and the bullhorn that day is so wrong that words cannot even describe. But it sends a message to the Iranians and to the jihadis around the world that they won the war on terror, that the United States lost the war on terror. And I'm very disappointed in New York because, never forget, we heard after 9/11. I wouldn't be surprised. Do they still have on the patches for the police and fire, they still have the trade towers there, right? There'll come a day when that's gone. But never forget. Well, New York forgot. And they made this guy mayor. And I understand, as mayor of New York, he has a right to be there. But is it the right thing for him to do? And would a decent person do it? If Mamdani attends and speaks, I will not be watching. I'll tell you that. Now, I may be forced to see some of it because I'm going to have to comment on it. So I may have to go back and watch it later so that I can comment on it. Or maybe I'll watch clips later. I don't know. But I know this. I'm not happy about it. And you know what? Neither should you. And very few people are going to talk about this because it's an elephant in the room that they do not want to touch. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I have some other things I'm going to get into when we get back. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. But before we break, I want to check in with John over at Lighthouse Medical. We'll be back after John.
Brian here. I'm at Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano, sitting with John. He's the Chief Operating Officer and Director of Neuropathy Treatment right here at Lighthouse Medical Center. You know, John, a lot of people have neuropathy. They may have had it for years. They've gone to their primary care physician, maybe even a specialist like a neurologist, and their doctors have told them there's no treatment for neuropathy. That's your life now. That's not true, is it?
No, it's not true, Brian. I mean, it's a real common misconception. There's a lot of clinicians who just don't understand neuropathy or how to assess it, how to treat it. We're specialized in this. One of the biggest frustrations is patients don't get proper blood work, metabolic dysfunction testing, looking at their gut health, inflammation, what are their lifestyle choices with diet, sleep, nutrition, hormones. There's so many things that can affect neuropathy, but typically for most patients we do a very extensive assessment with really extensive blood work, genetic blood work, and physical testing, and we're able to evaluate the patient to see do you or don't you have neuropathy, and then we provide them with the treatment plan options for what would be needed to be done for their situation to help them get better.
You know, I've talked to quite a few of my listeners that are patients of yours, and I've heard incredible things. I've heard that people have seen relief from neuropathy symptoms after their very first treatment, and I've talked to people that had the treatment through you after years, and their neuropathy symptoms still have not returned.
Yes. We're able to help people who are at different stages of neuropathy. Some people in the very beginning stages, we don't want it to get bad, so we're able to treat it sooner because they come in sooner when they notice any sort of symptoms or suspect something. We have patients who have really bad neuropathy who are at 70, 80, 90% nerve damage in both of their lower extremities, and we're able to help them as well. That's the difference of them walking or not, or being able to get up and do things or not. So we have to assess each patient one by one, and that's what needs to be done with our extensive testing.
Call Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano and schedule your no-charge consultation right now. Let them treat you and rid you of your neuropathy symptoms. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com.
We'll be right back. All right, we're in radio break now, guys. So if you're on hold, stand by. I'll get more calls when we get back. I've got more to get into when we get back. Okay, just looking over some things. Okay, hang in there, guys. Okay, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Okay, just over a minute, and we'll be back, guys. Just over a minute. Hang in there. One minute, we'll be back, guys. If you're on hold, stand by. Did I miss it? Did Doc say that he wanted the United... Did he say, I want the United States to defeat Iran? I didn't hear that. I know he claimed to have said it, but I did not hear that. "30 seconds. I didn't hear him say that. I'm sorry. If he said it, why would he have a problem saying it again? All right, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Our number, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian, this is Richie.
Oh, hey,
I
Rich.
have to address the guy, intellectually dishonest person that called you that said that one Muslim saved and ran into the building.
An EMT worker.
This is very important. This is very important that he pays attention to this because he didn't get this from his college professor, okay? The world, they decided, these jihadists decided to hit certain parts of our country. They knew they weren't going to defeat the whole country, but it was a symbolism. They went after our economic tools with the World Trade Center. They wanted to hit the Pentagon because of our military. They knew they couldn't defeat our army with those planes, but it was to defeat an idea. The other plane was going to either go into the House of Representatives, the Congress, or the White House. So they were trying to defeat our symbolism. So why didn't they? If they're such wonderful people, why didn't they take those planes and attack mosques? They didn't go into any mosques. Did they go and crash? So I don't want to hear about one or two or three, or there were Muslims in there and there were Muslims on the plane.
And by the way, I don't even know if I believe that, you know. And the thing about that caller, and this is what you really got to. That was one of the most terrifying calls I've ever received, because we talk about the Islamification of the UK. That was the first experience I think I've had with what I would consider to be the Islamification of the United States, because he's Islamifying the 9/11 event that we lived through. They're writing a new history for 9/11 about the heroic Muslims of that day, which I've never heard before, and that's pretty twisted and scary.
100% right. These people were developing a plan, and that was what this was all about. This was about destroying what America stands for. So the guy in college, I mean, forget about it. You listen to these professors, I bet you they never talked about The question I want to really ask him, if he ever calls you again, why didn't they take those planes and crash them in the mosques?
Well,
So,
we know
they
why
wouldn't
they
have made-
we
in
know
other
why
words,
they did what they did.
yeah.
I mean,
So now Doc is illiterate.
Now,
Totally
Doc,
illiterate.
I gotta tell you, I did not hear Doc say that I want the United States to defeat Iran. I did not hear him say that. He claimed to have said it, and I tried to get him to say it again, and he wouldn't say. I did not hear him say that. It was painful.
No, but he's saying they're kicking our butts. Where is he coming from? Where the hell is he coming from?
Tehran, I think.
And they're killing so many of our Americans. Listen, they attacked it. They're sending out these missiles to different countries one at a time because they can't sustain an attack. Because if they stay out too long, we crush them.
Yeah.
So they go right back into their cave. You call that crushing us? They have nothing left there practically. And I'm sorry. I just hope that President Trump, once again, I hope he doesn't stop this and negotiate these people. I don't believe this should happen. I just think they should bomb the crap out.
Well, my guess is we've blown up so much. We have probably hit all the targets that they set out to hit in that operation, and they're regrouping now for new targets. All right, Rich, I appreciate the call. I believe me. He said the talking's never stopped, but that's, and I know Drudge is reporting that we're out of ammunition. Are you kidding me? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
MJ, Wisconsin.
Yes, Wisconsin.
Doesn't it talk about Elam being destroyed because they become like more boastful in the end times about, demolishing Israel, and so they're going to take down the Muslim jihad.
I have no idea what you're
in
saying.
The Bible?
I have no idea what you're saying.
In the Bible, it's referred to in prophecy. Elam is referred to as Iran.
No, I don't know. Now listen, this is in Newsmax. Listen to this. Relatives of victims killed in the September 11th terrorist attacks are circulating a petition asking organizers to keep New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani away from the 25th anniversary ceremony at Ground Zero, calling the first-term Democrat an unwelcome guest whose record on Israel, Islam, and past political associations makes his attendance inappropriate at what they described as a sacred day. This is Newsmax reporting. The petition's at change.org, okay? The petition reported Saturday by the New York Post is being pushed by a group that includes, and they list a bunch of people, but a woman whose husband was killed in the World Trade Center and others. These are 9/11 families, the survivors. Organizers say they intend to press lawmakers and the nonprofit 9/11 Memorial and Museum, which runs the plaza commemoration, to exclude Mamdani from the September 11th, 2026 program. Signers cite Mamdani's refusal during last year's mayoral race to disavow the phrase globalize the intifada. By the way, have you ever heard Mamdani condemn 9/11? The global intifada, 9/11 was a part of it, okay? But have you ever heard him condemn 9/11? Signers of the petition cite Mamdani's refusal during last year's mayoral race to disavow the phrase globalize the intifada. His campaign trail appearance alongside Brooklyn Imam Surajaj Wahajaj and his hiring of civil rights attorney Ramzi Kasim as chief counsel of the City Hall. Kasim previously represented detainees at Guantanamo Bay. The petition also flags Mamdani's endorsements of Democrat Socialist of America candidates Aber Kawaz and another whose name I can't pronounce, as well as an old social media post in which Mamdani discussed the radicalized cleric Anwar al-Awlaki. The Memorial and Museum says it does not screen elected officials based on politics, so they're going to let him come. They're going to invite him. Spokeswoman Julie Wood said every sitting president, governor, and mayor since 2001 has attended, and that officials sit in designated areas without speaking. The framework established after earlier disputes over political speeches at the memorial treats the ceremony as an act of witness rather than a public forum. That's what the museum is saying. 9/11 victims and their families are put up on a special pedestal in this country for obvious reasons. And the more they stand up to this, the more terrible things are going to be said about them. So get used to it. Now, I'm going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. When we get back, I'm going to move on to some other topics, but you're certainly welcome to call in about this, all right? If you're on hold, stand by. The number is 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. 888-465-2631. I want to talk about life imaging. Do you have heart disease or cancer in your family's history? And if so, what does that mean for your own health? You know, my mother, like my daughter, is adopted. And my mother, she doesn't have any heart or cancer issues. And we thought we were all good to go. And my mother did some searching after her parents passed for her birth mother and family. And while her birth mother was alive, she had other siblings that she didn't know about. They'd all died from heart attacks and heart disease, all of them. And that immediately I know that I have, because of that, I didn't know before, but a history of heart disease in my family. That was one of the reasons I was always worried before I went to Life Imaging FLA. Between that and my high cholesterol level, I was always worried about having a heart attack and assumed that at some point in my 50s I would have one because of that family history that I did not know about. You know, you may have a family history you're aware of, or you may have one you're not aware of, like I did. You want to go to Life Imaging and get that heart scan so that you can at least get peace of mind, like I did. No problems, no blockage, no plaque buildup. I've got the heart and arteries of a 25-year-old, but could have gone the other way, as it has for many people in this audience who have found out they have blockage, some blockage in all their arteries. Some found out they had cancers, all because they went in, took my advice, and had the scan. Life Imaging have locations in Broward, Palm Beach, Dade, and Orlando. Call Life Imaging FLA for your free heart scan now with a few minimum requirements, valued at $699. From your cell phone, call pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250. Just say free heart scan and you'll be connected in seconds. And when you're there, make sure you ask about their full body cancer screening and their full body virtual colonography and say goodbye to sedation. Again, that's pound 250 on your cell phone. You'll be connected in seconds. You just got to say free heart scan. Pound 250, say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. We'll be back right after this.
Recommends products tailored to your needs and even adjust your care based on the weather, UV index, and seasonal conditions. What are you waiting for? Download Valaya AI right now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store and discover a smarter, more personalized approach to skin and hair care. Learn more and see how Valaya works online at mindhatch.ca. That's mindhatch.ca. Valaya AI, healthy skin and hair powered by artificial intelligence. Some towers never forget, and some ghosts never leave. From author Alex Giles comes your next must-read book, The Ghost of Port St. Joe, a ghost story of the Florida coast. Along Florida's forgotten coast lies Port St. Joe. It's a town where a tragic past refuses to stay buried. When Alex discovers a mysterious gold locket, he awakens spirits trapped for nearly 2 centuries and uncovers a love story that death could never end. If you love Southern Gothic suspense, haunted history, unforgettable characters, and chilling mysteries, The Ghost of Port St. Joe will keep you turning pages late into the night. Order your copy right now on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, and hardcover edition, as well as Barnes & Noble, Apple
All right, guys, we'll be back shortly. If you're on hold, stand by. Well, I'm getting some stuff together for the next segment, so hang in there. Less than a minute, guys. We'll be back. Fifteen seconds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Go fuck yourself.
There we go. First dump of the day. There we go, Mike. Oh my goodness. And they did it in a bit of a song. All right, there you go. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug. We won't need the dump for you, I don't think.
No, that's for sure. This Mandani, if this Mandani would have had a history of saying, oh, 9/11 was terrible, it's anything like that, yeah, maybe. But the guy hasn't said a damn word. If I was one of my people died in that, man, I wouldn't want him there either.
Well, no, 3,000 of our people died. It was not an attack on individuals in New York. It was an attack on America. The attack on America.
That's right.
The whole country. And remember, we lost more people on 9/11 than at Pearl Harbor. And in many ways, it was worse because it was a civilian attack. Pearl Harbor was at least a military target. That's what made it terrorism.
Exactly, man. That is the lowest thing I've ever seen. A really terrible thing in history that's never going to be forgiven. And if Mandani would come there, I'm sure he would say something that would not be very nice to hear.
No, I don't agree with that. I think he would come in and have his smile and come in perfect. I think he would. I think he would come in and be perfect, And
wow.
but here's the thing. Did you hear the caller in right before the top of the hour break at the end of the 6 o'clock hour, who was talking about all the heroic Muslims, like the Muslim EMT that went into the Trade Center after the. I mean, you heard what's going on. He's not going to come out there and give some jihadi speech. He's going to come out there and say all the right things, for the most part, probably.
Yeah, you think? Knowing that Mandani character, I wouldn't put it past him if he did say something that was, don't blame the Muslims. Come up with something that would be annoying to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you're right. Maybe he'd be real nice. The other thing is when you're mentioning about before about how it were racist if we want to deport people, in trade show business, I deal with a lot of the embassies because everybody wants to get a visa to come to America. These people wait and wait and wait with a block-long line to try to get a visa just to come visit America. And so now all these people that sneak in, they think they can just stay here and not be deported.
Mm-hmm.
They broke in. They got to get out.
Yes.
Get out. Throw them all out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm
all right,
saying.
Doug. Take care. Appreciate the call. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. How are you? This is Andy from Coral Springs.
Hey, Andy, what's up?
Well, I just wanted to make a comment about this guy, the mayor of New York. Supposedly, if he speaks on the 9/11 anniversary, I think it's simply disgusting. It's insane. It's outrageous. I'm 67 years old. I was born and raised in this country, and I've never seen anything like it. It is so wrong, so bad.
Yeah, and and the thing is that a decent person would recognize that. But see, when he goes there, he's not speaking to us or New Yorkers. He's talking to the Muslim world. And
Absolutely.
and how will the Iranian Revolutionary Guard that are on the verge of collapse? They're going to use this to get their people to keep on resisting and fighting.
Of course, it gives them more ammunition, more strength, more power. That's exactly what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
All right.
It's disgusting, Brian. It's
It
disgusting.
is. But, all right, take care. All right.
Well, thank you, sir. Take care.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it is. It's pretty bad. Your thoughts are welcome on this, regardless of which side you're on, although I don't see how you could be on the other side of it. The number is 888-465-2631. There's a couple other things that I want to share, okay? These two clips are going very viral over the weekend, and I want to share them with you in a few minutes. But we've got some updates involving the deportations of illegals from this country that put everything in a perspective that Democrats have not considered before. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Tom in Boca.
Yes, Tom.
Hi, Brian. Hi. I just want to say something about the call that I called in and out. The American African woman.
Hold on a second. The African American woman. I missed that call.
No, you were speaking to her. She wouldn't say America win the war.
Oh no, that was a man. That was Doc.
Oh, it's like a woman.
Oh no, that's a man. Doc is a man.
Gotcha. Okay. I just wanted to say, right, the woman couldn't stand up for America here. Well, the gentleman, whatever he is. But anyway, and then I wanted to just say something about Mike Mandel.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he can be a potential Trojan horse coming in with Minnesota?
No.
You don't think he could be a Trojan horse coming in with them behind him?
What do you mean, a Trojan horse for who?
For the Muslims in Minnesota. You don't
think
they're all behind him somehow in some way?
No. Why would you say something so ridiculous?
I don't think it's ridiculous. It's a thought.
No. It's a thought and it's a statement, but I asked you, why would you say something like that?
Well, I just felt a little concerned about it, and I just wanted to...
What did he say about Muslims that has you concerned?
What was that, Brian?
What did he say about Muslims that has you concerned?
Oh, not him. I'm saying me. Minnesota is such a Muslim state. What's been going on there with all the stealing and all that, and I just figured,
No. You asked a question, and I'm just trying to get to the root cause of it. Hold on here. I answer these other. I'm trying to get to the root cause of this. Are you back with me there? Did I lose you?
Yeah.
Okay. You asked me this question. Do you think Mike Lindell could be a Trojan horse? I said for who, and you said for Muslims. So where do you put those two things together?
Well, from the state he lives in.
You know he's a Republican, right? This is you know why you're running into problems here?
No.
Why do you think? Why you're running into problems with this? I'll tell you why. And you're going to deny everything I'm about to say. But that's okay. You can deny it. I'll let the court of public opinion, which is the audience, decide, and I think they'll agree with me. You are a liberal guy pretending to be a conservative. And what had happened in this call is you think you hooked me in by saying something that I would have that I might agree with about Mamdani, and then you started talking about Mike Lindell and Muslims, and where you ran into trouble is you have your liberal talking points messed up. The talking point you're using about Mike Lindell is not the appropriate liberal. It's the wrong talking point. You've got the wrong script for your seminar call.
No, I had
Yeah, no, you have the wrong script. By the way, aren't you that guy? Aren't you that guy that ran into Tom Laporta that one time at the restaurant?
No, you're getting me mixed up with somebody else.
It sounds like you sound like him to me. You sounds like the same voice to me. That nutcase that ran into Tom Laporta at that restaurant in Boca. But you sound like him to me.
Well, you got the wrong guy, Brian. I'm sorry.
But you've got, well, I know. I don't think so. But even if I don't think so.
Brian, you will. You're going to lose a lot of listeners.
See, here it's coming. Here it's coming. I got him. You are that. You are that guy. You are that guy that ran into Tom Laporta.
No, that's in your twisted head now, Brian. You're getting me. No, there's something.
Oh yeah, your whole tone just changed. Your whole tone just changed.
You put people down and you don't even know them. You don't even know me, and you're telling me I'm something and I'm not. Or check yourself, brother. Check yourself.
Oh, I reckon I'm very. Listen, I have. Oh, he hung up because I got him. And for those that don't know, Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. It was I think it was a Friday, and another hard day at work for Laporta Roofing. And Tom Laporta and his wife, they go out to dinner. They're waiting for the table, and they're sitting at the bar waiting for their table. And Tom Laporta has his Laporta Roofing shirt on, and that guy recognized him at the bar and just started going off about me. And there's I don't know where the video came, but somebody recorded it and sent me the video, and I did post it to X. This was a year ago or so, and you could tell, and he had the wrong talking point about Mike Lindell, and then you could tell when I brought it up to him that his whole personality changed, and he hung up on me. There's things I'm good at and things I'm bad at. I'm very bad at remembering names, but I remember voices and faces, and I remember voices very well. And I wear headphones when I'm on the air. And voices, I am very, I got Greg too the other day who was trying to disguise his voice. And as soon as I mentioned that, aren't you the guy that confronted Tom Laporta? You heard his whole personality change, didn't you? Absolutely. Well, let's take a moment to talk about Tom Laporta. I've been seeing all these tropical storms and hurricanes, all around Florida and everything else, and it has been raining. The other day it was raining really hard, and I go in the living room and I'm looking at the palm trees in my front yard. I couldn't believe the winds. How it's like it was like the palm trees in the movies where they're like bending down towards the ground, and I went and got my wife and said, "Come here, look at the palm trees out front." Even when we get these, it rains every day and it rains hard, but even when we get these short little rainstorms, you're getting wind gusts in there that are tropical storm force winds, and that's why if you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you've got a leak in your roof, and this is what you've got to understand. That wet spot on your ceiling, which may be the size of maybe a quarter, the leak, the damage up at the roof is much bigger than that, because the water's got to travel through the damaged shingles or tiles or whatever other roof material you have. Then it's got to go through the damaged cover that they put. Then it's got to go through the wood. Then after it drips down through the wood, it goes down and you've got your insulation, and it's got to seep through the insulation before it gets to your ceiling drywall. And what you find when you go up if you go up in your attic, when you got that wet spot on your ceiling, oftentimes you'll find a pool of water that the insulation is holding up over the roof. So just because it's a wet spot the size of a quarter, you want to call Tom Laporta. Tom Laporta covers both the east and west coast of Florida. That's right, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Gulf of America and everywhere in between. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. You can call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. We'll be right back. I got that guy. Did you hear his voice change when I brought that up to him? I heard it change on a dime. If you're on hold, stand by. That video was quite some time ago, so I posted it to X way back when, but I don't know if I'll easily be able to find it. They've done all these updates, so I don't think it goes back that far. But do any of you remember when I played that? Yeah, it doesn't go back far enough on X. No, it was quite some time ago. I'll go through my text. I don't know if I still have the text message. I've got a good ear. I've got a very good ear for voices. His whole voice, bray, you know. But I will say this. It was a good attempt. I'm going to look through and see if I still have that on my phone. It was so long ago. I'm not sure if I still have the video. I can't play it on the radio. The language is too bad. But I'll look and see if I can find it. It was so long ago. I have it somewhere. I just don't know if I can find it. And so he was totally unhinged. And I can't remember how far back it was. I'm looking now. Let me see. Oh, look, I'm looking through my phone to see what time are we back. Okay. 15 seconds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Bill from Sanford, Florida.
Hey, Bill. What's up?
I want to say that you're absolutely correct about the fact that they're trying to rewrite history. The press back in 9/11 was no different than they are today. You had the New York Times, the Washington Post, the major networks, CNN. They kept this guy hidden for 25 years. They would put him on the air back when it happened. This is all bullshit.
Well, you know, second dump of the day, Mike. You know, see the anger, you know, and that was a good second dump of the day. But that's how much passion. If you're on hold, stand by while we wait for the delay to re-engage. I'm looking for the video of that guy that I was talking to that confronted Tom Laporta. I've got the video somewhere, And I posted it to X when it happened, but it's been so long, and I'm looking. I hope I can find it. I know I have it somewhere on my computer or something. The guy was that guy. He has Trump derangement, one of the worst cases of Trump derangement syndrome in the state of Florida, and I got to find it for you guys. All right, the number is 888-465-2631. But you know, that last guy we had the dump was a good guy, but there's so much passion around 9/11 that even he lost a little bit of control of his mouth. And that's what I mean about being inappropriate. You know, I was talking early in the first hour. This happened twice with Steve and myself. We were, there had been a couple of people died separately that, I'm not going to say who, because I don't want to get involved. They're gone, but there were two people that were radio people that died in separate incidents, unrelated, but are known people. And Steve and I were invited to their funerals. And both of them were just nasty to me, to Steve, to the show, one more than the other. And we had many years of off-air conflict with these people, one really bad. And I told Steve, I said, I'm not going to their funeral, not going. And he said, why? And I said, well, I couldn't stand them in life. They hated me. They hated you. And then I reminded him of some of the things they did behind the scenes to disrupt our lives. And I'm good with voices, and I have a long memory. And I told Steve, I said, it would be disrespectful to their families for us to go, because we didn't like them, they didn't like us, and the only relationship we had was negative and nasty, and it was just, and by the way, we did nothing to them, but, you know, people get, before Trump derangement syndrome, liberals were still triggered in life, okay? But I said it would be disrespectful to their families, and we didn't go. And that's what decent people do. And if Mamdani had any decency in him, he would not go. All right, the delay's re-engaged. Let's see if our callers are. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm not calling. You called me.
But I called you.
Yes. So don't you what do you do? Did you just randomly put a number in? Oh my goodness. You see what it's like? You want to be famous? Oh my goodness. It's just part of the business. The liberals are triggered, and they'll continue to be triggered. You know why they'll be triggered? Because we are winning. And when it gets down to it, that's what has them freaking out. The Democrats, you've heard the Democrats that have called me on the air today, right? Each and every liberal that's called this program today has been unhinged, and it's manifested in different ways. The last caller was expressing his love for me. The previous caller used some salty language. Another one couldn't get themselves to say that they want the United States to win the war with Iran. I mean, but it manifests in different ways. But there's obviously meltdowns going on the left because their entire way of life is gone. Now, after the top of the hour, I have some other stories I want to bring up, and I'm going to do that. But you're welcome to call about this throughout the morning, all right? The show's flying by. I can't believe we're just a few minutes away from the top of the hour break at 8 o'clock. Those of you that are new to the program, welcome to the program. And on whatever radio station you're listening on, make sure you tell all your friends about our radio station and the program. Tell a friend to tell a friend about this program and our radio station. But the calls on our program here in the mornings are completely screenless and unvetted. We do not use a phone screener for a bunch of reasons that I'm not going to explain. But it's the format of the show, because it makes the show more interesting because you don't know what's going to happen because when you have someone answering the phone, the person that calls in usually says to the phone screener what they want to say when they get on the air. So it dilutes it. So if they even make it on the air, which a lot of them don't, they don't make it through the process, they are repeating themselves, and it makes it a lot less interesting. And because we also don't use a call screener, we don't have a screen on the board with names and John from Port St. Lucie or something. So when we take the calls on the air and you hear me say, "What's your name? Where are you calling from?" That's the first time we know who's on the line. If you see the name on the board, even if you don't know who they are, it gets you a little bit prepared, even subconsciously, for what's coming up. So maybe the callers could get me. Maybe they could get Steve. Maybe they could challenge us. Maybe they'll catch us in something. It doesn't happen very often. I can't remember the last time it did, but there's always that chance. All right, so the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. Now, I want to talk to you about Jamie LeeZep over at Swift Tax. He is absolutely amazing. When I first met Jamie LeeZep at Swift Tax and he started talking to me about taxes, I've met a lot of accountants, a lot of tax professionals over the years, but Jamie LeeZep loves doing your taxes. And it's really, what's fun to him? It's really cool. And this is the kind of fun you want your accountant to have. He loves saving people money and getting people money back from the IRS. He loves it. It's like a game to him. And, if you miss the filing deadline, or maybe you haven't filed your taxes in years, call Jamie LeeZep. He'll take care of it for you. Do you owe back taxes? Call Jamie LeeZep. He'll take care of it for you. In fact, even if you've already made payment arrangements with the IRS, we had one listener, he went to Jamie LeeZep. He owed money to the IRS. He was making payments. Jamie went back and actually reviewed his past tax years and found out that not only did he not owe money to the government owed him money, and he got the return. But if you've not filed your taxes in years and years, or you just missed this last tax deadline, stop worrying about that certified letter in the mail. Call Jamie LeeZep. He'll take care of it for you. He's got a direct line to the IRS. And I know you hear a lot of companies advertising nationally. Those companies charge boatloads of money. Boatloads of money. When Jamie LeeZep told me what those companies charge, I couldn't believe it. If you're in debt to the IRS, how can you afford to pay these huge fees? Jamie LeeZep does what they do better and for a tiny, tiny fraction of what those companies charge. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Jamie LeeZep, so you can call or text 954-773-1587. 954-773-1587. That's 954-773-1587. And remember, Jamie LeeZep can help you with your taxes no matter where you are in the United States. All right, it's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll take our break for the top of the hour, come back with your calls and more right after this break. Oh, boy. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to bring up some other topics when we get back, okay? Stay tuned.
additional source of income during your retirement. Your dream career may not be behind you. It could be just beginning. Visit retirementprogram.org today and get your free guide. And share the link on all your social media so your retired friends can join in too. That's retirementprogram.org.
All right, guys, we got less than a minute, and I'm queuing up something for the next hour. I kind of changed what I wanted to cover. Hold on. Okay, here. Stand by. All right, the 8 o'clock hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Welcome. If you're on hold, I got a few other things I want to bring up. You're welcome to call in about anything we brought up so far on the program, but I got some other things. Catherine Herridge was on News Nation, and she dropped something that's really scary. Now, Catherine Herridge, you remember, she was with Fox for many years, and then she went over to CBS. And a couple years ago, they let her go from CBS. But she dropped some big stuff on News Nation over the weekend. This is Catherine Herridge. Okay, now this is crazy to me. By the way, this was Katie Pavlich's show on News Nation. And I was telling Steve on Thursday or Friday about News Nation. I watch News Nation because they do a lot of coverage of true crime things, crime stories that are going on in the news, like this football player mystery and things like that. But Katie Pavlich, I like Katie Pavlich. She was on Fox for many, many years. And I guess Fox wouldn't give her her own show. There's only so many hours in the day, but News Nation did, and this is where this was at. So let me go back. She said that this is Catherine Herridge. And she has the documents in her hand. Okay, so this is insanity to me. So she didn't say bribe, she said blackmail, didn't she? Did she say blackmail or bribe? Huh? Yeah, blackmail. She said blackmail, not bribe. Okay? For the presidential daily briefing, and it was blackmailing the Biden family. Now, a couple things here. Think about everything we know about the Bidens. Joe and Jill and his kids, and his brother and his sister. They are the scummy. I mean, there's nothing about them that's not scummy, right? I mean, I'm not going to go through it. We spent 4 years of the Autopens administration talking about these things, but the thing about the things you know, all the humiliating criminal things that you know about the Bidens. What is so bad that even the Bidens can be blackmailed with it? Not bribe, blackmail. What could be so bad that the Bidens can be blackmailed by the Chinese? Because the things that we've heard about the Bidens over the years are so bad, I can't think of anything worse where the Bidens would say, we can't let the public know about that, right? Because first off, they have complete immunity. These things that have come out about them that are terrible, where they've taken bribes and paid for prostitutes and tens of thousands for one night with prostitutes and things like this. You know, remember the video where the Ukrainian pimp came to Hunter's house? Hunter went to the strip club to get his jacket from the hooker, all this stuff. The Beverly Hills Hotel where Hunter was paying hookers tens of thousands of dollars on Joe's credit card, the diamond and all this stuff. So there's something that would humiliate the Bidens that they could be blackmailed with. I don't know if I even want to know what that is. It's got to be so foul and disgusting. And I mean, these are degenerate people. So that alone it's got to be super bad. I mean, you know, for Joe and Jill to say, whoa, we can't let people know that we did that. But the blackmail, really, what could you blackmail the Bidens with? Can you think? Not bribe, blackmail, she said. It's got to be, believe me, you and I do not want to know. Let Trump know and let him handle it. And please don't tell us, President Trump. We don't want to know. It's got to be so scummy that it'll be something that we'll never be able to get out of our mind. But the blackmail was according to Catherine Herridge, the blackmail was by China, she said, involving the Biden family for the presidential daily briefing. Now, the presidential daily briefing, that's the most secret stuff, right? So if the Bidens are being blackmailed for the presidential daily briefing, who could get that? There's only two people named Biden that I think could get their hands regularly on the presidential daily briefing. Joe or Jill. Hunter and everything, you know, he might on occasion be over there and get to see it, but he couldn't get it regularly. So is Catherine Herridge saying that the Bidens were being blackmailed and that Joe or Jill, and Joe doesn't know what's going on, so it'd have to be Jill, wouldn't it? We're giving the presidential daily briefing to China? Let me play the whole thing, because I stopped it early on. Okay, so that's pretty scary stuff because the Bidens are shameless, and it sounds like Catherine Herridge is saying that they were giving the presidential daily briefing. You know, it really is scary. Everything they say and do against Trump, the media are handed these stories every single day that are Watergate times infinity, but because it exposes a Democrat or someone from the political establishment, they suppress the news and they don't share it because they don't want the public to know about it. But Catherine Herridge, this is going viral online. It has been all weekend. And she has very good sources and she has the documents. And this has gone so viral, I would be shocked if Catherine Herridge and Katie Pavlich didn't do follow-ups on this, and I'm hoping we get some more information. But the presidential daily briefing has some of the most classified information in it each and every day, and it also gives you information on what U.S. intelligence, what their analysis is of certain things around the world. That is that's one of the most powerful and valuable documents on the planet, and it's every day. 7 days a week. And if they were giving that to China, my goodness, I mean, what's going on here? And and you guys on the left are obsessed over the Russia, which didn't happen. This is real, and they don't even want to know about it, and they blah blah, nothing to see here. It's like it's okay. That's what the Trump derangement syndrome does to people. It's like President Trump at the Correspondents' Dinner. He made that joke about Caitlin Collins from CNN, which was funny. And what was funny is she does look like that guy from the Bud Light thing. I didn't realize it. And they're going after Trump. I mean, the things that they've said and done about Trump. They accuse him of being involved in sex crimes with porn stars and Epstein for years. They accuse him of being a spy and for Russia. All that, that's okay. He makes a joke about Caitlin Collins from CNN and Bud Light. How dare he? Put you up over there. All right, now, I was looking at the heat index this week. Holy smokes. You know, do you know the heat index was, at Walt Disney World was like 106 over the weekend here in Florida? And I always check the heat index. The heat index is what the temperature feels like. So it might be 98 degrees, but the heat index could be 104, 112. That's what it feels like. And the heat index for the last couple of weeks has been over 100 degrees each and every day. If you have an air conditioning unit that is not cooling your house, if you have an air conditioning unit that's running all day without stopping, if you have rooms in your house that no matter what you do are still hot and never cool off, you need to get a new unit. And Sloman Central Air Conditioning, they make that so easy and so affordable. Listen to this. Sloman Central Air Conditioning is offering a high-efficiency 5-ton 18-SEER system that uses R454B refrigerant for just $59.99. That's right, just $59.99. With zero down, zero payments, and zero interest for 18 months. Plus, your system comes with a 5-year bumper-to-bumper service plan. And you'll also receive the Sloman Shield home security system installed with 5 years of professional central station monitoring included with your AC package. Give them a call right now, 561-217-COOL. That's C-O-O-L. 561-217-COOL. 561-217-COOL. All right, we'll be right back after this.
Prophecy and Truth is a Christ-centered ministry dedicated to proclaiming the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ and shining the light of God's Word into a world darkened by deception. Discover powerful videos that explain what the Bible says about salvation and what you must do to be saved. Explore fascinating teachings on Bible prophecy, the rapture. There's also an in-depth creation versus evolution study that will strengthen your faith and deepen your understanding of Scripture. And that's just the beginning. Whether you're a lifelong believer, a new Christian, or simply searching for answers, Bible Prophecy and Truth offers biblical teaching rooted in God's truth. Visit videos.prophecyandtruth.com. That's videos.prophecyandtruth.com and discover the truth, strengthen your faith, and grow closer to Jesus Christ. Videos.prophecyandtruth.com. Are you looking for a smarter way to care for your skin and your hair? You can do just that with Valaya AI. Valaya AI is your personal AI wellness coach. With just a quick scan from your phone, Valaya AI analyzes your skin and hair in seconds, providing personalized recommendations for acne, hydration, wrinkles, pigmentation, dryness, hair health, and that's just the beginning. Using advanced artificial intelligence, Valaya AI creates customized morning and evening routines, recommends products tailored to your needs, and even adjusts your care based on the weather, UV index, and seasonal conditions. What are you waiting for? Download Valaya AI right now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store and discover a smarter, more personalized approach to skin and hair care. Learn more and see how Valaya works online at mindhatch.ca. That's mindhatch.ca. Valaya AI. Healthy skin and hair powered by artificial intelligence.
Okay, I'm looking over this, but if they don't, Janice Dean from Fox is pissed off at me, and I just don't really understand. But what? we got about 20 seconds and we'll be back. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. I don't know what I did, and when I get off the air, I'm going to go through all of this on X. Do you guys know Janice Dean from Fox News Channel? She's the weather girl, and she just recently retired because she's got some health issues. She just announced like a week or two ago. Janice Dean from Fox News. She is like furious with. I woke up this morning and my phone is like blowing up. And I'm like, what's going on? And Janice Dean got really ticked off at me over something. I don't know what I did. And then she, a few years back, I remember she had some deaths in her family that involved things during the shutdowns. I sent her a DM asking her to come on the show. She shared a screenshot on her X of this DM I sent her, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years, I don't know how long ago it was. I'd forgotten all about it. So she shares a screenshot of a DM. This is Janice Dean from Fox. And so she shares this screenshot of this DM I sent her years ago. And she's like going off on me. And I don't really know what I did. I don't understand. After the show, I'll read through all of it. I was trying to make sense of it during the breaks, and I just can't understand. This is the first time I've had someone that's like a conservative, like, ticked off. You know, I've had some liberals, like, get nuts with me that are famous. I had Joy Reid went off on me on X, and she got mad at something I said, Joy Reid, when she was on MSNBC, and she took a screenshot of my profile and posted it online and went after me, and then all of her people came after me. Fredo Cuomo, from when he was on CNN, just he got so ticked off at me. I commented about something he said, and about on CNN, and about 2 minutes later, when he was in commercial break on CNN, he like sent me this nasty message on X, and then I got a weird, like 4 a.m. message from Cuomo on X saying weird things, and now Janice Dean is just really ticked off. I don't quite get it. All right, Janice Dean, calm down. Calm down. So sometimes there's like some celebrities that I'm like fans of. They've gotten mad at me on X and blocked me. Like there's one, I cannot remember his name. There's a famous, an A-list Hollywood director blocked me on X. I can't remember. He's one of the real famous ones. I can't remember which one. And then some like B-level celebrity. You know, Will Wheaton, who played Wesley Crusher on Star Trek The Next Generation. He blocked me on X. Jerry Ryan, who played the Borg 7 of 9 on Star Trek Voyager. During the actors' strike, I was talking about the actors' strike, and then she blocked me. Rosie O'Donnell has blocked me. From, you know, and all this. People get, I don't know what it is. They get triggered. And Janice Dean, all I did was ask her to come on the show as a guest, and she's just totally lost it. Oh, well, you know, what are you going to do? You know, I have no idea. Yeah. Oh, boy. Whatever. Life goes on. Yeah. You know, I don't really get it. That's why I tell you, I talk so often about not putting things in writing. Not that I did anything inappropriate, you know, but I sent Janice Dean a DM on X. It had to be 5 years ago. to come on the show as a guest, and she still has that DM. You know what I mean? Why do people keep that stuff? I clear out my text messages, I clear out my DMs, and I just always, I always find it so really creepy that people keep old text messages and old DMs, and then they take screenshots and post them online when they get ticked off of people. Candace Owens is big with this, right? She's got all these text messages of her and Charlie Kirk, and she puts them out there, And in the age of AI, you can have AI make things that look like DMs and texts that aren't. But that's why whenever I whenever I text or DM someone, it's very short, it's very sweet, 1 word, 2 words, and I don't put anything in a DM that I wouldn't say into this microphone. Not that, maybe I'll send a text or a DM to someone that might be boring, right? For me to say on the air. But what I mean is, I would never put anything in a DM or a text that I would be embarrassed of, right? Because people share things, and then you also lose context. But I do not keep people's text and DMs and post them online. And when people do that, I just find it to be inappropriate, and it feels like a violation to me to do that. Don't you guys? I think it's a real weird and low-life thing. Now, the thing with Janice Dean, there's always exceptions to this rule, but, and you guys could, she just quit. She just retired from Fox like 2 weeks ago. You guys can go on X and see this. It's, my experience has been, now again, there's exceptions to every rule, and there certainly are exceptions to this one. But when it comes to people on the air, radio and television, oftentimes the people that are the nastiest on the air are sweethearts off the air, right? Like me. I get a little rough with some of these liberal Trump derangement syndrome suffering lunatics, but you don't see me like that off the air unless they get confrontational off the air. And the people that are the nicest on the air, that you think are just the sweetest, most beautiful people in the world, those are some of the nastiest, backstabbing people off the air you would ever meet. I'm telling you. Now, again, there's exceptions to that. But it's Janice Dean is a type of person you would think would never be upset with anybody. But it happens. All right, listen. I want to talk about Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment, his robotic laser away pain treatment. It's Monday, the Monday after the weekend, and you're probably more active over the weekend than you are during the week. You clean out the garage, you go golfing, you go fishing, whatever, you go bike riding, whatever. You play some pickleball, and then Monday comes around and you're in pain. Well, go see Dr. Appleton and go see him today and say bye-bye to your pain. His robotic laser away pain treatment works on every pain I've ever heard of, and I learn about new pains all the time from people in this audience. And what the robotic laser does, without surgery, without drugs, without shots, without pills, without pain, you don't even feel it when it's happening, it repairs the damage in your body that is causing you the pain. Because you got to remember, the pain is a signal from your body that something's wrong and it needs to be fixed. And if you take medication, all you're doing is masking the pain. You still have the problem. Dr. Appleton's robotic laser repairs the damage. Give him a call. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome. So if you woke up this Monday and you're aching from the weekend, go see him today. Just walk in. Appointments are not necessary and the consultation is free. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back. Okay. All right, we're clear. We're in our break for the bottom of the hour. I got some other things I want to get into when we get back, all right? So if you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, and it's pinned in the live chat.
Life can leave us with a lot of questions. Why did this happen to me? Why do I keep repeating the same patterns? And where is God in all of it? If you've ever asked those questions, you need to tune into the Healing Philosophers Podcast with the Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Through honest conversations and real-life experiences, each episode explores topics like healing from past hurts, generational karma, letting go of what's holding you back, understanding narcissism, and discovering how God can use even life's hardest moments for a greater purpose. The Healing Philosophers Podcast is about finding hope, growing in your faith, and realizing that your story in every season of your life has meaning. Add the Healing Philosophers Podcast to your Spotify playlist, and make sure to share the podcast on all your social media, and invite your friends and family to listen in too. Your share could be exactly what someone else needs right now. The Healing Philosophers Podcast with the Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Healing starts with one conversation. Listen now on Spotify.
All right, we'll be back in just over a minute, guys, so hang in there. I got a few things I want to cover still. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you want to call in, the number's toll-free. It's pinned in the live chat. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening, all right? I got a few things I want to share when we get back. Oh, boy. Okay, less than a minute. We'll be back, guys. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. You know, I'm glad I'm not alone in this Mamdani at New York. This Fox News, actually, this is Fox News over the weekend. They actually reported on this. This is Fox News over the weekend on Mamdani attending the 25th anniversary of 9/11 event at Ground Zero. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. You know, there's 3,000 New Yorkers that stopped taking the subway after 9/11 too, because they were dead. Oh. Tommy Lahren. Yeah, I mean, Tommy Lahren, she's grown up, you know, she's pretty good. I'm glad that they did this on Fox over the weekend. I did not see this live. I came across it a while ago. That's on that weekend show. It's called the Big Show, and I'm glad they did that. And I hope there's more coverage of it, because they're going to work very hard to get us not to talk about it. And they're going to, not only are they not going to want you to talk about it, they're going to want to label you a bigot, an Islamophobe. And you know, that clip of Mamdani, I remember that. We played that on the show during the campaign about the auntie or whatever with the hijab. And if you watch the video, it's such fake crocodile tears going on there with Mamdani. But you know, the 9/11 experience, the victims are not Muslims in the during or after 9/11. And when you hear Mamdani talk about 9/11, he's worried about Muslims after 9/11. That's not, no. And you know, and it really shows that while he's an American citizen legally, right, in his heart and mind, he's not, because he just doesn't understand it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Oh, hey, JJ.
Hey, going back, you had a question about Doc. I want to talk about the 9/11, but Doc, I did hear him say the United, but he couldn't get the states out. I think, you know, but I mean,
he couldn't get the whole word out. He couldn't get it all out, just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, he just get like the United, but I mean, you know, listen, when I hear somebody on the show say what Doc said, that we're getting our butts handed to us. I mean, when I hear that level of delusion, I mean, this guy maybe he's related to Bad Dag Bob somehow. But when I hear that, it's hard to take anything,
You know, over the weekend,
he says is a joke.
Over the weekend, I watched that new movie with Brendan Fraser about D-Day, and it's really, really good. Brendan Fraser, I wouldn't say Brendan Fraser's not great casting. I love Brendan Fraser, I do. I like him a lot, but he you know, it's strange casting. But it's called Pressure, and it sounds like a terminally boring angle on D-Day. The main character is Eisenhower's D-Day meteorologist, and how weather played such an important role. And it seems kind of dry. It was incredible. In fact, it was so good when it was over. I went over to Barnes & Noble and bought a copy of Stephen A. Ambrose's book on D-Day, and I started reading it over the weekend. And they show these scenes from the Normandy invasion in this movie that are more graphic than Saving Private Ryan. And which is saying a lot, right? And you know, these Higgins boats that they landed on the beach in. I told this to Doc. That's why that was in my mind. More guys died getting off of one of those troop landing boats instantly than we've lost in Iran in 5 months of this air campaign. But I was thinking when I saw that movie about D-Day and all these guys who were kids that died on the beach, Americans, Brits, and all this. And I'm thinking, everything that they fought for on the beaches of Normandy, what was it for? For Londonstan? You know, Europe has fallen to the Muslims, and what did they fight for? And then I get that call. I don't know if you heard the call from that one guy who was telling me about all the Muslims who died on 9/11. Other than
that's one of the reasons I was calling in.
That was a chilling call that sent chills down my spine.
Well, reading that book, see, I listened to the show. I heard you talk about the book. You went over to Barnes and Noble's, whatever store it was, and you had just said, I thought that was pretty funny. You're always saying something that.
Oh, you heard me say, yeah. What happened is I went to when I went to the. By the way, this book is really good. It's Stephen Ambrose's D-Day, and it's really good. But I'm doing something I haven't done in a while. I'm actually it's like I'm in college. I got a pen, actually a Jupiter Joe Thomas pen that I'm using to make notes in the book. When I went to the bookstore, I realized I was wearing my Alligator Alcatraz shirt and my Trump 2028 shirt, and this is what JJ's talking about. And I was doing a live stream online, and I said, what would they do at the bookstore if I walked in and asked them where the books on fascism are with my Trump? Oh,
The heads explode.
oh my goodness! But I tell you, I went to the Barnes & Noble in Boca on Glades Road, and I don't think the people inside there have seen a MAGA hat in person in their life. I got more stares from at that Boca Barnes.
Bigfoot, Brian. You were Bigfoot to them. Look, it's Bigfoot.
It was like when I was walking through LAX wearing it, right? And I don't know if have you been to the Barnes & Noble on Glades Road in Boca?
I used to, yes, back in the day.
Okay.
I don't even know if it was there back then.
Okay.
But I've been to plenty of bookstores.
They've got this escalator to take you up to the second floor that's really high. And when I went up and then down that escalator, everybody was staring at me in the whole place. I mean, you would have thought I was, some hot girl with a miniskirt on with nothing on underneath. Everybody was staring at me, I mean, I'm like, have they ever seen? Oh my gosh, it was. And when I was in line,
You were a walking troll for all these people. That I could just, when you said the thing about the fascism, I was just, my God. I said, that would be a great idea, but you'd have to have somebody with like a hidden camera to record.
Yeah, because they and they'd probably call the police. I'd come out to the parking lot and the cops would be out there. But, the liberals at the bookstore, they don't think MAGA people can read. But in all seriousness, though, that guy that called in about the heroic Muslim EMT that rushed into the trade tower who died on 9/11, that's the Islamification of the American story and Islamification of the history of 9/11. And that's what they do. Okay, they rewrite your history to fit theirs. Not any conquering people. It's like the Romans. A conquering people, when they take over a country, they rewrite that nation's history to fit them, and that's what that caller was doing. And that was the first time I've heard that involving American history.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I noticed your demeanor with that caller. I could sense like sort of the thickness of the building in you. Let's just say,
yeah.
And what you've just said about, well, number one, the book, but the movie in the Higgins boats. And seeing that can put you in a very sober frame of mind when you think about things like 9/11. It can just put you. I know when I see that stuff, it just puts you. If you can put yourself in their boots back then and the way the world was, it just wakes you up to things that.
Well, there was we've got, after 9/11. If people forget, after 9/11, it was a very unusual time in this country. It was short-lived, but it was a bipartisan era. Yeah, and Billy Crystal, Robin Williams, and Whoopi Goldberg, they had done that. They had done years of that comic relief comedy special, and the three of them got together and organized the Concert for America in New York. Think about that: Whoopi Goldberg, Billy Crystal, and Robin Williams. And it was a bipartisan time when everybody had the American flags on the windows of their car. Everybody was driving around with their headlights on. And we were a united people. And then the Democrats made they got it. What happened, there were two things that happened early on. One, CNN and ABC News messed everything up. CNN sent out a memo which went public. CNN reporters are not to wear the American flag on their clothing while broadcasting on CNN. CNN is an international news outlet, not an American one, and you should not show partisan towards the United States. And then ABC had the Concert for America. They would not allow Toby Keith to play because he had the Angry American was his big song.
Yep.
And then it went down the tubes. But
Statue of Liberty is that the Statue of Liberty is going to put her.
Yeah, exactly. Boot up your exactly, because that's the American way. And they made, but there was a brief. So people have forgotten 9/11 and what the days and weeks after 9/11 were like. And what this will be, Mamdani speak in all seriousness. We have a lot of fun and make fun of each other, and you guys call me and I call you guys out. But in all seriousness, there's a hot war going on with Iran, and Mamdani even if he doesn't speak, Mamdani attending the 25th anniversary of 9/11 will be viewed in the Muslim world as they have won the war on terror, and it will give hope to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard to continue the fight, and it'll be a recruiting tool for jihadis against the United States. Be patient. America's weak. We won. We've conquered New York. Look, Mamdani, he's at ground zero. And it's very bad. I'm sorry to tell you guys.
Propaganda win just by, I remember Doug saying, if he, he's going to say some bad things. I agree that listen, anything he says, just being there, the whole damn thing is bad. The whole look is bad. It's going to be used for propaganda. And I agree that he will definitely, if he does say anything, typically they don't speak, but this is the 25th anniversary, and he'll probably be saying something. I hope that he doesn't.
Even if he doesn't, the cameras will be on him. And remember, his wife put out a tweet on International Women's Day praising a female Islamic plane hijacker from the 70s.
Our own media, Brian, our own media will play this up.
Yeah.
Our own media. Like Doc, what was Doc saying? That they're kicking our butts?
Yeah.
That's just insane to hear that. But our own media is going to take that same narrative.
Yeah.
That,
Indeed.
and they're going to use this against.
Listen, I got to run for the break, but I appreciate the call. All right, you take care. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back with the Gold Report.
Okay.
All right, so hang in there. All right. All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with our first gold and precious metals report of the week. How the metals starting the week off, William Youngerman?
Starting the week off on the upside this time, as the range between the highs and lows is narrowing on the charts, giving us possibility of a major breakout this week or early next week, either to the upside or downside. That remains to be seen. But these are numbers that we're seeing that are indicated that we're about ready to break out of these trading ranges. Friday we saw gold close up $3.10, closing out the week at $4,051.70. Silver was up 50 cents at $58.03 the ounce. Platinum was down $6 at $15.85, and palladium closed out the week down $9 at $12.27. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $4,081 all the way up to $41.17, and right now we're at $4,088 the ounce on gold. That's up $36.30. Silver up 87 cents at $58.90 the ounce. We did get up to over $60 earlier this morning. Platinum up $38 at $16.23. Palladium up $34 at $12.61. Oil down over $5 right now at $83.90. We were over $90 last week.
Yeah. So that's all. Last week you were talking about, make sure you don't pay too much for the metals like a lot of these places charge. But one other thing too, with you that maybe you could talk a little bit about it. When it comes to the bars, the gold and silver, it's important to buy. You offer the bars that are going to, you'll be able to sell at any point. Can you talk a little bit about that? And sometimes people run into trouble when they go and buy things in other places.
Yeah, the biggest thing today you have to be careful of is not only who you're dealing with, but what you're buying, and the bars are being very much counterfeited and sold on eBay and other places. Please be careful. These are very excellent quality bars with packaged in their certified sleeves and everything else. They look absolutely genuine. They are not. They don't test genuine, but you must be careful who you're buying things from. On the other side, you don't buy products that are just manufactured for the purpose of selling quote, semi-rarities to people. These are products that are being manufactured by a lot of these big marketing companies. By the Royal Canadian Mint does it. A lot of just private mints are making these things. They look like coins. They have commemorative things on them sometimes, but they're not real products made by governments, and we do not. And you're paying a big premium for these things under the guise that they are numismatic rarities. They are not, and you should avoid these at all costs.
Yeah, they're gimmicky, is it really? And and there's no reason for you to, no matter where you're located, to even think about doing something like that, because with William Youngerman, no matter where you're located on the planet, you can do your transactions over the phone and through the mail. Can you talk a little bit, William Youngerman, about people doing their transactions over the phone and through the mail, and how that process works, and the security with that when you're mailing out the metals?
Yeah, it's very simple. You just pick up a phone, call us on our 800 number, discuss the products you want, lock in the price of the metals that you're looking to buy at the time, wire the funds, and the metals are shipped fully insured wherever you're at the very next day.
That's right.
It's very easy to do business that way, or you can call in, lock in a price, and bring in a cashier's check within an hour or something, and it's a done deal for you.
Yeah. So listen, give William Youngerman a call. He opens up at 10 a.m., 800-327-5010, 800-327-5010. You can stop in Boca at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And find both his phone number and address on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk next week. Or, no, I'm sorry, we'll talk tomorrow.
Have a great day.
We'll talk next week, too. All right, take care. Yes. We'll talk tomorrow and next week. Oh, my goodness. Let's go. Let's see here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Renee from Harlem.
Oh, hey, Renee. How you doing?
I just had to give your White Power Hour a shout out, and I had to say that I am starting to become very fond of China. Because I think you guys are going to pick a fight with China eventually.
You guys?
You fight everything.
You're not an American?
Well, I'm born here.
But you don't.
Let me finish my statement.
Your statement.
Eventually, you're going to pick a fight with China. And eventually, China's not going to lose because they don't want to fight. They don't want to fight.
Yeah.
But they're not going to lose. And when you do, we will pick up the pieces and put it all back together.
So let me get this straight. You want China to conquer the United States?
They're going to beat you.
Then what will you do? Then what will your life be like?
You guys are the new version of Hitler.
No.
And
Renee, how do you envision your life under CCP rule?
Well, China hasn't fired a shot. They haven't killed anybody. Conversely, you guys have killed a lot of people.
Okay.
You've killed everybody.
Okay, all right. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if is Renee calling from Harlem or is he calling from Bellevue in New York? What do you guys think? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, IB Brian. How are you?
All right.
Hello. Hey. In a nutshell, really quickly, 3 points. Doc said you and me, us, not America. He didn't say I want America the way he said us, you and me, Brian. And then the other guy, he was talking about, the one Muslim got killed. He kept repeating it because we just saw a live version of Saul Alinsky repeating the lie over and over again, okay? That's all that was, coming our caller. As for Mondani, this guy is pushing the buttons. He has the match like Canada just had those wildfires. This guy is going to light the candle. When we saw all protests coming in from different places into a city, he's bringing in all these different radical Muslims into New York when Netanyahu gets here, and you're going to have the biggest protests of Jews you've ever seen go opposing. Instead of being scared, like Brian said, my friends are scared.
That's true. Well, listen, IB, I got to run. The show's almost over, but thanks for the call. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian. What's up?
Hey, Brian. How are you today?
All right.
But if you kind of look at this, is the 9/11 attack that we had is a first wave, and a delayed second wave being this political attack that we're under right now. This guy at Mondani is a disgrace and abomination. But now the fact that these guys can now stand for political office around the country, whether it's Texas or Michigan in that, this is really a disgrace. But I think it was Tojo who said, watch out that I'm afraid that we've awakened a sleeping giant.
Did you say Tojo, the Japanese general?
When they didn't go for the second wave attack on Pearl Harbor?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm hoping we'll have a similar thing, except a political...
Well, the thing with Mamdani, when he tells that story, after 9/11, I think of my auntie who couldn't wear her hijab on the bus. I mean,
what a phony.
First off, I don't believe any of that story. I never saw someone wearing a hijab in public until after 9/11. But I don't believe that story. And if you go back and watch that video, it's on my X at Brian Craig Show. Talk about crocodile tears, dry tears. Yeah. I mean, if that's his 9/11 story, 9/11. Every American. It's like when I was a kid growing up. You could go to a hospice care, and there's somebody with severe Alzheimer's on an iron lung, and where were you when Kennedy got shot? They'd wake up and tell you. That was before I wasn't alive then. But if you guys that were, and 9/11 became that. Everybody remembers where they were and what they were doing and who they were with on 9/11. And Mamdami's story is his auntie after 9/11 with the hijab on the bus. I mean, come on. Yeah. He was probably in Uganda on 9/11. He probably wasn't here.
Resort they have in that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember when Kennedy was shot. I was in third grade. Mrs. Ward came in and told us the news, and I was in a Catholic grade school, and they sent us home.
My third grade teacher was named Mrs. Ward as well.
Really?
That couldn't have been the same one in Columbus, Ohio, but yeah, it's true.
No,
Mrs. Ward.
This is Miami Beach.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
How? Well, who knows? But how long is this political moment of this?
But I mean, think about it. Not Kennedy and 9/11, and the Challenger explosion. There's these things, and there was a speech that President Kennedy gave. He says everybody remembers where they were on Pearl Harbor and when they heard that President Roosevelt had died. So every generation, I guess, has their moments. But 9/11, I mean, I've got goosebumps now talking about it. And, you know, like I said, just because you have a right to do something doesn't necessarily mean you should do it. And it is very offensive to the entire country and disrespectful to the city of New York and for him to go.
Absolutely. When is the electorate going to wake up in New York? If this election was actually won, well, I'm not even
The
sure it was
5th of
actually
never.
won.
The 5th of never. Hey, look, I'm up against the end, but I appreciate the call. I probably shouldn't do it, but I'll try another call or two. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Faith from Michigan calling in.
Hey, we have 30 seconds.
Okay, I can't believe that Mondani is in office, and I don't think that he should attend the 9/11. And I can't believe, like, these people that have forgotten the impact of 9/11, because
Who would have
it's
thought?
just disgraceful.
Who would have thought they would have forgotten?
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Yeah. Well, you know who's responsible? You know who's responsible for Mamdani? Curtis Sliwa. Curtis Sliwa, number one. Curtis Sliwa, and he still buddies up with them. Never try. You can't. I used to look up to Curtis Sliwa, not anymore. All right, we're out of time, but I know they have forgotten. Who would have thought? Well, listen, that's Monday. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Until then, God bless America. See you tomorrow. All right, we're clear. Hey, guys, make sure you do me the favor of liking the video. Please like the video. Liking the video gets the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel, and that helps so, so much. And those of you that are new to the program, welcome and please subscribe. I'm here every day of the week, live here on YouTube in the studio, taking your live calls. And during the week, not only am I here in the mornings, but most afternoons as well, including this afternoon. So make sure you subscribe, okay? And I have a whole stack of stories to talk about today, and I really only got to 2 or 3 of the stories that I wanted to cover today. So this afternoon, I'll cover whatever breaks during the day today, and then whatever stories I didn't get to on today's program. All right, everyone, this is where MAGA comes to talk. My name is Brian Craig. I'll see you next time.